gonna be.
The following is a Shaw TV Winnipeg mobile presentation.
And welcome back to Steinbach, Manitoba, to the Automobile City and to the T.G. Smith Center, who has been gracious host to us all week long for this, the final day of the 2010 Safeway Championships. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Toth, and less than 12 hours ago, Jeff Stoughton lost 7-5 to Mike McEwen. He's right back here at the rink this morning to take on another legend of the game in Manitoba, Kerry Burtnyk, for a chance to advance to today's final and face Mike McEwen. To set it all up for us is Paul Edmonds and John Meade.
All right, thanks a lot, Jim. I don't really think it's a surprise that you have names like Stoughton and Burtnyk playing on a Sunday in a provincial men's championship. The only thing is they'll play today in the semifinal and not in the final necessarily. One of them will go to play Mike McEwen, but an opportunity for, well, two teams that were in the final last year to meet again and then play one of the younger guns on the circuit in the province right now.
Yeah, both of these teams expected to be playing Sunday, Paul, and just a little bit earlier than they expected for this matchup, and that's really all to Mike McEwen and his team's credit. They're the ones in that final today. They've been the best team so far this weekend, and these two teams, whoever is fortunate enough to get out of this matchup today, has an uphill climb to get through to Team McEwen.
Because obviously, you know, you've got to play two games today to try to get to the final. One and another one to try to knock off McEwen, who's 6-0 at the Spiel this week. And, you know, yesterday I think Stoughton was kind of rolling along. He was 5-0 and just ran into some problems against Mike McEwen. And I'm wondering kind of what happened.
Well, they just weren't as sharp, and it started right from Leeds Rocks. There was a little bit of inconsistency and some misses, some uncharacteristic misses from that team, and they had been playing so well to get to that A final last night. So for them, an opportunity today. They did have that second chance. They're going to need it this morning. And for Team Burtnyk, it hasn't been quite as smooth.
Well, some would say that maybe Kerry's a little lucky to be here this morning.
Yeah, he's used up a lot of lives. They've had a lot of ends that have gone against him. They found a way to wiggle out of them, which Kerry's very good at doing. But at some point, they're going to have to get a more consistent game out of their entire team if they want a chance to win two games today.
Obviously, Kevin Park was playing very well for Jeff Stoughton going along here as well, so he'll need to pick it up a little bit. I think, Jeff, and you mentioned it here on the opening, that they were just an inch or two away yesterday, and they'll need to be that inch or two sharper today in order to move on.
Yeah, you're right. Kevin Park was outstanding last night, and he was the reason that Jeff Stoughton was able to get back in that game. So they can use that as a real confidence builder. They know that if the other three of them can just pick it up a bit, they're going to be right back at that top form and have a great opportunity to get back to the final today.
John, a little cooler in the building here as we do this, and I'm wondering if that will affect the ice, good or bad.
Well, again, the ice makers can do whatever they want with this ice out here. By making things a little bit cooler, it allows them to not worry about losing the ice. They can maintain the conditions from start through finish. So I think they're just doing a great job on the ice conditions to make sure it's as good for them to play as possible.
Should be a good crowd. The last couple of nights we've had tremendous crowds in here, and even yesterday morning's draw, a good crowd as well. We expect that here this morning. Let's have a look at the teams, and we'll do that for Geldwin.
Hi, my name is Jeff Stoughton, and we curl out of the Charleston Curling Club in Winnipeg. My lead is Steve Gould, my second is Rob Fowler, and my third is Kevin Park.
Hi, my name is Kerry Burtnyk, and I'm from the Assiniboine Memorial Curling Club. My lead is Garth Smith, my second is Richard Deneau, and my third is Don Walchuk.
Team introductions for players who probably need no introduction at all. It's a huge battle between Kerry Burtnyk and Jeff Stoughton, and the first end is coming up next.
Right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Over 130 options to choose from, found exclusively at Safeway. Visit safewaychampionship.ca for more information.
Geldwin Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Do you know that your dentist sees more than just your teeth?
In fact, dentists are the only oral health care professionals uniquely qualified to examine, diagnose, and treat the tongue, teeth, gums, mouth, and jaw.
Only your dentist has the education and expertise to diagnose and treat all of your oral health needs.
To find out more, visit manitobadentist.ca regularly.
Trust your dentist. Good for you. Good for life.
Coming soon to Shaw Video On Demand.
What is he doing?
I told him the camera was in the lamp.
No. No.
How about this guy, Whitaker? The guy's making $350 grand a year, and he turns informer. When does that happen?
Mark Whitaker, secret agent 0014.
Why 0014?
Because I'm twice as smart as 007.
Email direct. Safeway savings sent directly to you. Visit safewaychampionship.ca for more information.
And we welcome you back to the T.G. Smith Center in Steinbach, Manitoba. Glad to have you along this morning. Semifinal Sunday morning, which will turn into final Sunday afternoon. And the right between Kerry Burtnyk or Jeff Stoughton to meet Mike McEwen. And this first end brought to you by Manitoba Pork, locally grown, globally preferred. And we get it started with lead rocks here, and Steve Gould, first one out of the hack to get it started this morning. A little cooler in the building, as John and I talked about this morning off the top, and we'll see how that affects things. And I'd imagine the crowd will grow as this end will go along, John, and then it will swell for 2 o'clock this afternoon between the winner of this game and Mike McEwen.
Yeah, very often in these kinds of facilities, the morning draws is when you get your best ice, because the ice has had a chance to really cool off overnight. The lights haven't been on, and the ice makers have a chance to get it back to pristine conditions. And as the day goes on, typically the ice gets a little bit tougher with more play, more people in the building. So the ice is as good as it's going to get all day right now. And I think with these two skips, knowing that the only way you beat the other guy is putting more pressure on and making life as miserable as you can. I think you're going to see both of them go at it right from the word get-go, and we see that with a nice guard by Steve Gould, and then Garth Smith putting it on the tee line. And it's, again, just like last night, I think it's all going to be about those little mistakes, rocks slipping 6 inches too far, guards not being quite positioned perfectly. That's going to make the difference in this game. And both of these teams are very aware that at any time the other guy can throw a knockout punch and score a big end, and that's what they're both going to be looking to do, is put a big crooked number on that board early and get control of this game in the first half.
Well, the guard goes up for Stoughton, and Burtnyk comes right in the house, and now Stoughton will follow and try to come on top and just rest in the 8-foot and just off the center line a little.
And Steve Gould, loved to have seen that rock go another 2 feet, but the key there was to be in front of that red stone and get some control out of the 4-foot area. And even though red is shot, that's a well-positioned rock by Steve Gould. And
it's heavy. Looks like a rocket.
And they're saying, you can hear Kerry Burtnyk saying, it's a rocket, it's a little heavy here on the second stone for Garth Smith.
Yeah, and the key here for Garth is he wants to create good angles, and if he can freeze across the face a little bit like he's done, maintain just good angles in the 4-foot, so that at some point Kerry will have some sort of run back or a tap to score more than 1 point this end, and that's really Kerry's goal.
A little separation on the rocks in around the button. We've seen some ends, especially this weekend, where there's been 7, 6 rocks all around the button. We saw that yesterday, certainly with the Gunlickson-Burtnyk game, and some tough shots to make and try to have some run backs and blasts to get things kind of moving out. And then, of course, guys trying to draw in towards some of those pockets that were available as well.
Yeah, and we'll see that kind of game again as long as it stays close. You're going to see this repeated over and over and over again, where guys are just going to trying to create angle after angle and not give away a big advantage. And we see a great start to the end by both teams, and Kerry not that unhappy with the angles in there, so he's going to run up and take off this guard and say to Jeff, you've got to go figure out a way to improve this for you.
Here's Richard Deneau's first stone, second stones for both rinks. And it looks like a peel here, and it will be.
So because some good position rocks there for Jeff, for Kerry, he doesn't want to force himself into a situation where he can't use the advantage of first rock or last rock that he got in this first end by virtue of the draw to the button. So peeling the guard to try and open things up a little bit, and with a small miscue by Jeff that he can maybe lie to after making a double. So for Rob Fowler here, wants to make a short raise on the yellow and try and leave 3 yellows in the rings and get rid of that other red rock and create some good angles, and he's done that very well.
Does that exactly to perfection.
Little thin.
I know yesterday before the 7 o'clock draw on the game that you did with Kathy, as Richard Deneau and his second shot will come down. The entire front end of McEwen's team was named to the All-Star team, first, second, and third. Jeff Stoughton was the All-Star skip. As you hear Kerry Burtnyk say good rock on that throw by Deneau. And
yeah, a real nice shot there by Richie making that double.
We'll have one each sit right on the can, and hard to tell right now who might be shot.
Nice weight. Just nice, guys.
But Jeff Stoughton, the All-Star skip. But he's had some, as we talked about in the opening with Kevin Park, he's had some real good complimentary performances from a pretty experienced front end all week. And his record 5-1 coming in.
Yep.
Yeah, probably as a team, their weakest performance last night, but a lot of that is as a result of how well Mike McEwen's team played. An opportunity here for Kevin Park to hit and lie 2, but needs to get by this top one.
He does. And kind of split everything toward the back of the 4-foot into the 8.
Yeah, you hear them talking about the very, very surprised. He was playing a hit and roll on that red one and actually didn't have enough weight to get rid of anything, and just gets by with good sweeping and just sort of taps, moves things around. And we talked about there's a lot of practice on this ice leading up to it. Both teams get 7 minutes plus a draw to the button, but typically guys throw in the same spot. They throw the wide out turn draw to the wide draw to the button, and they throw in a rock right up the center line drawing to the wing, so you get paths that have not been played on at all. And Kevin Park got stuck there playing in a very, very green patch ice, and it really took the weight off. And a big opportunity here for Don Walchuk if he can make a double and lie 3. But
just not enough weight.
Well, what he did do very well there was save his shooter, and there's 3 red rocks in the rings now. So for Jeff Stoughton, they have to be very careful. You know, the key here for Don was he would love to make the double, but make sure that he gets to the nose, get rid of one of those yellow rocks, and leave 3 around. And right now there's a real big opportunity for Jeff here to give up a big end. So they have to be very, very careful that they make good rolls and not roll out of the rings. But an opportunity here for Kevin Park to make a hit and roll to that other one and get out of the rings or get out of trouble.
Trying to knock that one where the broom is out and roll flop right back in behind.
Yeah, or roll right across onto the red one in the back of the 4-foot there and eliminate it by playing a hit and roll on top of it.
Kevin Park's first stone in this first end.
Again, throwing in a pretty green patch of ice. It can really curl. Looking for a big roll.
And he gets it. And almost to the face of that other stone on the corner.
Yeah, and if that rolls another 3 inches, it's absolutely perfect. But it's a really good shot. It's going to group Kerry's rocks together. It's tough for Kerry to do anything too great there without leaving Jeff a pretty easy double to lie 2. And a couple of seconds ago, Jeff's pretty worried about giving up 3. So just another good shot by Kevin Park.
Final stone for Don Walchuk, the 3rd for Burtnyk. And they haven't touched it yet.
Just trying to hit this a little high and not disturb his red stone if he can hit and roll on top of his own. Does that nicely.
And he does. You know, that's one thing too, you were talking about practice. You get 7 minutes, a draw to the button, all of that. But I mean, there's just something about when it's for real, you know what I mean? When it's the first end and you're having to draw around and really hit the broom. And so in some ways, you're glad to kind of, I would imagine, when you curl, and still do, get that first end out of the way. Always a little bit more comforting of a feeling.
Yeah, and you certainly, it's always nice to be able to get through the first end without having to have a game shot right out of the hop, and because you see how well these teams play out of the gates and how much pressure they put, and already Jeff is forcing to make a good double here, and even knowing that even if he makes this double, Kerry's going to have a double back to lie 2, and that's really what Kerry's done. They've been very patient, made their shots, and they've really created an opportunity for 2 points here. Jeff Stoughton has to start by making this double.
He's made a lot of doubles this week. There's 1, there's 2, hold the shooter, and everything rolls out.
Really nice shot.
And he will sit 2.
Lots of weight, good control, nose hit makes that double, and created a pretty steep double for Kerry, Burtnyk, and Jeff Stoughton have been playing defense for the last couple shots and done a pretty good job of maintaining the first and second shot here and making it tough for Kerry to lie 2. And but for Kerry, a hit and roll here, that same sort of roll that we saw Kevin Park make, if he can make that roll right over to that yellow one, it's going to be tough for Jeff to do much with it. But needs the roll. If he doesn't make the roll, pretty easy hit and stick for Jeff, and he'll be lying 2, and Kerry will be forced to take a single point here in the first end.
First stone for Kerry Burtnyk of this first end. And on the front end on it, and then off, and back on. And he gets the takeout and a little roll, as you talked about, John, but not quite undercover enough.
No, he would have loved to have rolled that much to the other side, and the double would be more difficult because Jeff's yellow one would be in the way. But Jeff has to be real careful with this double. If it was ever to over curl and miss, he could jam it on his own and bring 3 into play. And so very easy in this kind of circumstance to be a little careful, hit a little high, and then just jam it and stick it on the other one and not make the double. And so we've seen some pretty precise curling in this first end, and an opportunity for Jeff to make a double and force Kerry into a draw for 1. Big shot here very early in this game.
One thing about Jeff Stoughton, doesn't waste a lot of time in the hack. And he'll throw a little up weight here. Trying to get the double. Stick for 2. And force Burtnyk. Well, he doesn't get what he wanted in the desired result. Knocks one of his own out along with the 2 Burtnyk stones. And now I'm sure that Kerry will try to just hit and roll out and blank this first end.
Yeah, they're just that much late on the sweeping call. If they hit it just a little bit thicker, they make the double, and it goes across the top of the back one and lie 2. And they were, again, they had to make sure the double first, which they did, and just fraction off, and as a result, Kerry pretty straightforward blank to get through the first end.
So final stone of the first end, Kerry Burtnyk with some up weight will try to just peel this out and blank this first end and hold the hammer going to the second.
Well played first end by both teams, and
he does.
Yeah, both teams coming out of the gates playing real well, so it's going to make for a great game.
Bit of a feel out first end. No score after 1. Burtnyk still holding the hammer. You're watching the 2010 Safeway Championship from Steinbach on Shaw.
And let's talk a little bit about the ice conditions, Paul. It's been great. Lots of curl, 4.5, 5 feet when they draw around center guards to the middle. The same amount of curl to the wings when they're going around a corner guard. Again, 4 and 5, lots of finish, and it curls all the way down the sheet, which makes for real aggressive curling. When those corner guards are a little bit closer to the center line, you can also go around the wide side. We haven't seen that as much this week because there is such good curl out to the wings, but you can get around a corner guard either direction. Also great speed, and it's been consistent every draw. Hog to hog, 14.5 seconds. Hog to stop, 25-second ice, nice and fast. These top teams are using their sweepers so well and taking full advantage of this great ice conditions that last from the first end right through to the end.
And Ice Time is brought to you by Safeway, ingredients for life. Well, if you curl, you like to have a lot of swing.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk more about that when we come back. Quick timeout. Back after these on Shaw.
Well, Jeff, a familiar foe here today. What are you expecting against Kerry Burtnyk this morning?
Well, just a lot of shots made, so we know we're going to have to be on top of our game because Kerry makes everything, so we're going to have to do the same.
Rematch of last year's final, does that weigh into this at all, or does any of the times you guys have played together weigh into this?
I don't think any of the times do. Every game's a new game, and it's just whoever plays better this day is going to win.
And the second end brought to you by Manitoba Public Insurance, proud supporters of Manitoba curling. A blank in the first end. We'll go to the second. Coming back toward our broadcast location. And what has been a real nice week and weekend here in Steinbach. The local host committee's done a fabulous job for hosting it for the second time since 2006 back here in 2010. Talked a lot about the ice. It's been very good. All week long.
Yeah, it's just so consistent, and that's what leads to such good play when the guys can trust where they're putting the broom and then trust that it's in the right spot and that they know what it's going to do. They can just play with a real confidence. They can just let it go and predict where it's going to go, and that leads to great play. When you see teams struggle at this level, it's usually as a result of a little bit of inconsistency and not knowing if the rock will do the same thing twice. And different facilities are tougher to make ice in, there's no question, and especially when these facilities get bigger and the lights are brighter and there's more people and there's a lot more different air patterns, and they've got a facility here that they can clearly create some great conditions, and Greg Owasco and his team have done a really good job, and as a result we're seeing such great play. You know, that both teams came out of basically made everything that we looked at in the first end, and it bodes well for the rest of this game, and for Mike McEwen sitting back, he's not going to get a team, I don't think, that's been struggling up against him this afternoon. They're going to have to be prepared to continue their great play.
Well, Mike McEwen's 6-0, so you know that he's like the ice, but he said yesterday that it, after the morning draw, was fair for everybody.
Yeah, you know, it's definitely fair for everybody, and the only difference is these top teams play on these conditions a lot more, and I think the ice conditions, when they're like this, it plays into the hands of the top teams a little bit more because they're more used to it, and it allows them to use all of their capabilities and all of those years of experience and all those rocks that they throw on these conditions. And so yeah, it's fair for everybody, but it's an advantage to these top teams.
Sure. Well, Stoughton's first stone, he came in the house. Burtnyk threw up a guard, and I don't think Steve Gould was very happy with that shot.
Yeah, you know, he put his first one in a pretty good spot. Kerry throws up the corner, and he's throwing the guard, and it lost its handle a little bit, and that can happen again early in a game where it hits some fresh ice, and the pebble's still pretty crisp, and it's those little things in the course of a game that can create an advantage. And now Kerry's really got two corners in a pretty nice situation for him if they can make a hit and roll here to force the play to the corner, and
he did.
And it's a real nice shot by Garth Smith. It's behind the tee line, but it's where Kerry wants the end to be played, so he doesn't even mind that rock going behind the tee line. Pretty small hole here for Rob Fowler to try and navigate to get to this rock. Jeff could also play the freeze down in there, but electing to try and get rid of that red rock.
First stone for Rob Fowler, second on the Stoughton rink.
Working hard to get through this hole.
And Park and Gould right on it. He gets through the port and has the takeout and will sit right there.
Great brushing. That looked a little tight out of his hand, and those guys really worked it hard, and we just see that over and over, that these guys put so many of their rocks into the hands of their sweepers, and they don't try and make it on their own. There's nothing you can do when you're heavy and you're outside. There's nothing you can do, but if you use your sweepers like they did here to get that rock through that fairly small hole and make that takeout, a real nice shot by Rob Fowler, and so far these teams are playing great.
Richard Deneau trying to do the same thing. Now the sweepers will get on it. A little bit late on the call, but they get it through the port, and they'll stick with a nose hit and flop a little back toward the forefoot.
Yeah, a nice roll there by Richard Deneau. It's the same hole for Rob, but it's he can't see as much of that rock, so it's not as natural. On his first one, if he gets through the hole, he sticks. This one, he has to throw a little less weight. So you've changed things up a little bit here by Richard. Changed the path a little bit because he has to throw different weight.
Final stone of the second end for Rob Fowler. It's got to curl a little bit here.
Yeah, they're making this hole look pretty easy, and it's really not.
Gets it through again, and will have the takeout and will not hold the shooter.
And that's why Richard's shot was so nice, is that, you know, he rolled a little bit buried and changed things up, and now they've got an opportunity to put a rock in a better spot here for Richard with a draw. And Kerry's front end, and I think if they were, and they would be honest, they've been a little inconsistent at times throughout this weekend, and they've come out so well in this game, and as a result, Kerry's back end has been able to play some pretty aggressive shots so far.
They played 3 times yesterday, 9-2 and the 7 o'clock draw.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you, as a curler and a guy that competes at this level, and a nice draw there by Richard Deneau, maybe slid a little too far back and behind the tee line, but you know, playing 3 games physically in one day is enough, but now you've got the mental side of the high level of competition here too. So I would imagine by the time you get maybe home last night, have a bite to eat, 10:30, you're just exhausted physically and mentally after the 3 days or the 3 games.
Yeah, and you're right, and it does take a physical toll, and you're out here for in the course of action 9-10 hours for a team like Kerry Burtnyk yesterday. And the issue is, it's not so much being that tired and physically you can't make the next throw. It's what goes when you're tired is your mind, and this is such a mental game that you lose that little bit of an edge mentally. It can make things tough, and all of a sudden you have an end that goes against you, and you can lose a game pretty quickly that way. So a nice draw by Richard, forcing Jeff to play pretty defensively, and finally someone who wasn't able to make it through that hole. And opportunity now for Kerry to lie too, and Kerry would love to get a deuce early on Jeff Stoughton in this game. And good draw, good opportunity here for Don Walchuk to get buried, and Jeff will have to make a decision. How hard does he push?
A missed opportunity for Kevin Park as he wrecks on one of those guards out front, and now Burtnyk will ask Don Walchuk to come in and try to split the house here.
Yeah, split the house and be buried. And Jeff will have to decide, does he go out after the open one and just sort of concede 2, or does he go after the one that's buried and risk giving up 3? So pretty good job by Don Walchuk. Might be a foot deeper than he'd like, because it will provide Jeff with an opportunity to freeze his way out of this situation.
And Kevin Park will get an opportunity for redemption here with his second stone of the second end. We're scoreless. They blanked the first in this semifinal. The winner moves on to take on Mike McEwen, who has never been to a final in a provincial men's championship. The 29-year-old has sniffed around a little bit, but finally breaks through yesterday with a big win over Jeff Stoughton in the 7 o'clock draw last night.
Yeah, Mike's been good and been good for a long time, and they've just worked real hard over the last couple of years, gone out and played the top teams and taken their lumps at times, but they've really taken it to a different level this year, beating the top teams in the big events and winning a big WCT event out in Brantford. And so, you know, they're ready, and they've done the right things to try and get here. And Kevin Park trying to play a freeze here, and
just didn't come and curl enough to sit on top. So shot stone belongs to Stoughton right now, but pretty much wide open, John.
Roll right to center, or else go in here. Okay.
Yeah, Kevin. Jeff playing a risky game there, and doesn't want to give up that early deuce, so trying to play the freeze as opposed to a hit, and Kevin Park just being a little bit heavy, and now it's really created an opportunity for Don Walchuk, if he can hit and roll away here, to lie 3 and wants to stick around.
And a little heavy, and Will got a fortuitous bump off one of his own in back 12 to hang around and sit for 3. Otherwise, he was a little heavy there, and if it wasn't for that corner, that rock on the corner of back 12, that he might have spilled that shooter, and you'd only be maybe sitting with 2 instead of 3.
Yeah, pretty fortunate, and it's rolled to a spot, sort of banging around everything, that they lie 3, and there aren't any easy doubles for Jeff, and he could look at the wide one and hit and roll into that pocket, but you know, Jeff not wanting to give up 2 in this end, and so he's going to try and play a freeze down to these back ones and try and force Kerry that way. But this is a pretty touchy situation for Jeff. He could, if he's not careful, he's going to avoid giving up 2 by giving up 3 or 4, and it's a pretty risky play right now early in this game.
Wondering if they had a look at it, did the Burtnyk ring, to see if that back one on the 12 was actually biting, and I think it is.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it from my vantage point, Paul.
Stoughton's first stone in the second end, as John said, trying to freeze to the back and avoid giving up the big end here to Kerry Burtnyk. There's a little slide. And I think he knocks that one that was in question right out.
Oh, it's thrown lots, but not quite enough.
And I don't think he shot stone, Stoughton. I think the one over on the left-hand side is shot stone for Kerry Burtnyk.
And that rock just didn't quite curl enough for Jeff with that weight. And
Still got to make it. Bumper. Flash.
So Kerry's going to try and hit and roll away here. He does not want to just sit there and leave Jeff either a really easy double, or potentially Jeff might even freeze, and if he makes a good freeze into a pocket, there won't be an opportunity that Kerry has right now, which is if he can make a good roll, he's going to be able to lie 3, and Jeff's going to have a pretty difficult double to get out of this, and I don't think you'll see Jeff play a freeze to a single rock. Just too easy for Kerry to get rid of that.
Burtnyk's first.
Key here, roll away. Don't create that pocket.
Smith and Deneau. Good scrub right there, and he'll stick after removing Stoughton's stone out of the back 12 and lie 3 right now. And this is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw this 4 rocks ago shaping up.
Yeah, Kerry got a little surprised there with the amount of curl, and you know, now he's given Jeff an opportunity to freeze into that pocket and put it in a spot where he shot rock, and Kerry will not be able to get rid of it. And I think if Kerry even just rolls out the other way, Jeff probably just plays a hit here and concedes 2. But you know, that happens early in the game. Just a little more curl than we saw them. They weren't worried about it. They actually didn't sweep it for halfway down the ice, and it ends up over curling. And so that happened a little bit yesterday to Jeff Stoughton. So, but again, and I think Kerry mentioned it, Jeff still has to make this freeze, and if he was ever a little heavy and it didn't curl up enough, he'd definitely bring 3 or 4 into the equation. And so it's a pretty risky, pretty big shot early in this game. But the nice thing for Jeff, and we saw this a lot yesterday, is it's his second time throwing this rock in the same spot. He knows how it's going to curl. He knows the weight. He's going to be real close.
Final stone for Stoughton in the second, and as John says, trying to get in and just kind of sit in that pocket.
Has to curl, get across the face a little bit.
And it's starting to move now.
Doesn't want to tap this too far.
Walchuk will try to help it along, and he taps one of them out. He'll sit in front of the other stone on the back 12 and be shot rock.
Yeah, there is a corner guard up there, so Kerry's going to have to get, if he can get to the nose, he can spin that red one out, or the yellow one out, and score 2 points. But there is a corner guard there, and it makes it, he's going to have to get pretty tight to the corner guard to get to the nose. So it's not as straightforward. Jeff rolled just enough to make it real tough on Kerry, and Jeff probably just 2 feet heavier than he wanted to be there, but a pretty good result.
Well, you see Burtnyk asking for more ice from Don Walchuk.
Easy up.
Just confirming the weight, and as in Don's position, knowing what weight is going to be thrown is so important because it affects the path and how he calls the line. Kerry got to get real close to the guard to get right to nose.
Burtnyk's final stone. Smith, Deneau on it again. They get by the guard, heavyweight, and will remove one of his own and Stoughton's to sit for 2 and take a 2-0 lead. So he gets his deuce, does Burtnyk, giving up the hammer here in the second, but has a 2-0 lead. Exactly what you want to really start a game in the first 2 ends. A blank in the first and a deuce for Burtnyk in the second. And has a 2-0 lead through 2. Speaking of Kerry Burtnyk, Jim Toth had a chance to talk with him before the game.
Kerry will have some sort of
Do you still get excited to play on a Sunday?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you know, if I wasn't getting excited, I wouldn't be playing anymore. So, yeah, this is exciting. You know, playing Jeff, it's going to be a fun game, and this is why we compete.
What's the key to beating Stoughton, or do you just focus on your own crew?
Well, you know, the key to beating Jeff is just going to have to make a lot of shots and make more shots than he does. And, you know, so we're going to come out and try to play our best game. And, you know, I'm sure they'll be doing the same. So we're looking forward to a real good game.
And this third end brought to you by Manitoba Liquor Marts, proud supporters of Manitoba's Provincial Championships. And there you see a picture of a, looks to me like almost a school or a building in Steinbach, generically. Just a building in Steinbach.
It's a nice one.
2-0 after 2 ends for Kerry Burtnyk. Now Jeff Stoughton will have the hammer going back down the other way in this third end. By the way, these two gentlemen, Stoughton and Burtnyk, are 1-2, actually Burtnyk then Stoughton, in the most games played in the provincial championships. Wins as well, they're 1-2. So if you're looking for numbers, Kerry Burtnyk most wins out of provincials, 117, that includes last night's win. Games played, 159, this is 160 here this morning. Stoughton 110 wins, second only to Burtnyk. And here Jeff is playing his 141st game at a men's provincial championship next to Kerry Burtnyk. So a lot of experience between the two skips. 12 provincial titles between the two of them as well. Jeff Stoughton looking to make it 2 in a row for the second time in his career. Of the 7 that he has, Kerry Burtnyk looking to win his 6th. But they have to either one advance by the other and then play Mike McEwen at 2 o'clock this afternoon for that to happen successfully. Garth Smith's first stone of this third end.
Yeah, and the difference so far is very little, and both front ends are playing real well. I think the difference in that end, we go back to Leeds' second rocks where Steve Gould's picked on his guard attempt, and instead of all the play being forced to the middle, Kerry was able to generate offense by going to the wings, and in a very comfortable situation, knowing that at the very worst, if things got away from him, he'd just have a draw to the forefoot for a single point. So that tiny little bad break for Team Stoughton early really dictated that, and we're seeing Jeff Stoughton's team have to chase again. We saw that all day yesterday, down 2 points and having to scrap their way back, and they're in that position again early, and they're more than capable. But they're going to continue to need to focus on what they're doing well, and they're going to have to hope that at some point Kerry's team gives them a little bit of an in, because so far Kerry's team has not missed.
Burtnyk came in with the first stone, and then Stoughton comes back and asks Steve Gould to throw up a guard, and he does.
Yeah, Garth Smith a little bit light on his first one, but it's left kind of a nice situation for Kerry here, in that if Garth Smith, Kerry could just decide to go around this or just guard it, but because it's not fully in the rings, Kerry can play a little tap here, and the net effect if Garth makes this good is he's going to be able to tap to the forefoot behind cover, and because of the free guard zone rule, Garth Smith's rock, this one that he's thrown out, will not be in the rings. Jeff won't be able to hit it, because he's not going to be able to remove that guard. So key for here, Garth, is get right to the nose on this tap. If he doesn't get right to the nose, his shooter will roll in, and then Jeff will be able to play a hit.
My fault today. Good throw.
And he doesn't. A little thin, as they say, and there is a double there.
Yeah, I think they expect a little bit more curl, and And it just didn't curl up enough, and you heard Kerry say, "My fault, Smitty," and just a little bit overestimating the amount of break.
Steve Gould, second stone of this third end, 2-0. Burtnyk leads.
So in this situation now, actually, Kerry's first two rocks not positioned really well for them, and it's going to allow Jeff to go around those corners. A nice hit and roll there by Steve Gould, and not a long run back, but all of a sudden Kerry's probably looking at having to play a short run on his red one. And see this Paul as he's coming in. He's just trying to make a hit and roll. He'd love to make the long hit and roll behind the corner, but he's hit and roll behind the red and force Kerry into a sort of a defensive game. And they don't really expect to score 2 points with that particular rock by Steve Gould, but what they're hoping is maybe they don't make this run back perfect, and then they can bring the corner guard into play. Richard would like to stick both of these. Just hits a little high and spins that one off, and
shooter will stay. The original red will move out along with Stoughton's yellow.
But you see the difference here in this end, and then Garsmith's rock's not positioned perfectly. Steve makes that nice hit and roll, and now it's a wide open house for Jeff and a corner guard that he can go try and use to generate 2 points and get that right back. So leads stone's so important in this game to how an end plays out.
Rob Fowler from Brandon, Manitoba.
Mine's good. How's your week? Almost tee. Mine's good. Don't touch it,
And they're waiting for it to move, and
go deep.
It is starting. And you hear Jeff Stoughton saying he wants it a little deeper. And he'll come out to help with the sweeping. And have it just roll back in behind that tee line. Not bad shape, though.
No, and it just didn't curl enough, and it is going to allow Kerry to hit and roll to the center and bring the attention away from that corner guard. Just didn't quite curl enough for Robbie. Key here for Richard is to hit and stick, roll to the middle, and first things first is get rid of that yellow stone.
And he's right on it. And a little thin, and will not stick around. So shooter rolls out, and that's not exactly what Richard Deneau wanted to do. He wanted to hit a little bit more on the nose and just roll back over toward the middle, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I think Richard just a little wide. You heard by Kerry's reaction, but nice control of weight there by Richard saved him there. And if he overthrows that at all, he misses it altogether, and then they're in a real world of hurt. So not a great throw by Richard, but did the job at least of getting rid of that rock.
Fowler's second stone.
Yeah, you'd hate giving a player a free run at a draw like this 2 times in a row. They won't make the same mistake again of over icing and trying to get this buried
behind cover into 12 and biting the 8-foot.
Yeah, it isn't completely buried, but because it'll be tough for Kerry to get to the nose, and there are some biters out there. There's a lot of rocks to jam, so they have to play this pretty quiet to get some curl to try and get as close to nose as possible. Neither one of Rob's rocks really curled there, and I expect a little bit more finish. We've seen more finish to the wing on those, so not sure if Rob was maybe a little positive, but makes this shot a little bit trickier if it is running a little straighter down there.
Don Wolchuk's first.
Needs to get right to the nose, or there's a pretty good chance of jamming, and we're seeing this rock really run straight.
Yeah, it's not curling here.
And he's going to miss this rock altogether. And
he will flash it all the way through. Big mistake.
Yeah, I think definitely heavier than what Kerry called for. But you hear Kerry say, wow, that path really running straight. You saw 2 of Rob's and then Richie, and this one moving it all together. And you see that rock would have easily got to the bumper, and I think that's a big part of it, and Kerry stopping it early, but Kerry was calling for just tap through kind of weight and heavy draw, and Don through bumper there. And we've talked about it all week, how you throw 6 to 8 feet more than what you're broomed for, and it will run a very, very different path.
Kevin Park, the third for Jeff Stoughton. See if Stoughton and his rink can take advantage of that mistake by Don Wolchuk.
Yeah, Jeff could just draw to the open side and get 2 points this way, but if he can get a second one in, buried around that corner guard, it's an opportunity for them to lie 3, and or bring 3 into the equation. But Kevin just a little bit light.
You know, do you get a little spooked there because you see sort of the weight and the path that Wolchuk threw, and he's heavy and he goes all the way through, and then you're Kevin Park as you're watching that shot and you're thinking, okay, I want to throw it a little lighter, and that's what happens. It becomes a little too light. And
no, you're exactly right. And rocks do have a tendency of going a little bit further when it's a little bit straighter. So Kevin just being a little careful there, and not a bad result. That rock is dead buried now, and it's in a real good spot, and tough for Kerry to freeze to it and be shot. So it's certainly not a bad miss by Kevin Park, but not taking full advantage of the opportunity.
Right.
So for Don, they're going to try and make a good freeze here. And
Are you sure?
final stone for Don Wolchuk in this third. Trying to get around the 2 guards and freeze to Stoughton's yellow.
Yeah, there's such a, he really has to put this on a dime to be perfect. And
now it's starting to move. And right up to the face. Nice shot by Don Wolchuk.
Yeah, it is a really nice shot, but it shows you how tough it is because he's frozen right to it, and he's right on the edge, and they had to be careful if they bounce off at all and leave Jeff Stoughton a hit and roll behind. So he makes this really nice freeze, but it's dead buried. He's not shot rock, and Jeff is just going to be able to draw the open side to lie 2. So, you know, Kevin Park's miss, even though it was a miss, still didn't create a very good situation for Kerry Burtnyk, and Jeff's in a pretty good opportunity here to get his 2 points by drawing open side here. But for Kevin Park, doesn't want to make a mistake. He'd love to put this at the tee line or leave it a little bit further, but he needs to lie 2 here.
Final stone for Kevin Park.
Move the line.
His residence brand in Manitoba now. A couple of Albertans or ex-Albertans in this game.
Yeah, they've both played each other a lot over the years, but usually a time zone away. So twice they've played each other in this event. Yeah. Trying to get shot rock.
And they do.
Yeah, second shot rock, and nice shot by
first
Kevin
and second.
Yeah, so Kerry just trying to find a way to get out of this, and his only real way to get out of this is going to be able to make a hit and roll behind at the end. Hit and roll behind the guard.
Easy way.
Of course, we'll have coverage of the final at 2 o'clock today. And I wouldn't be surprised if the McEwen foursome is relaxing somewhere, watching this one on television. Had everybody across the province too, and certainly into Western Canada, wherever you might be today, tuning this in on Shaw. And Safeway Championship final will go at 2, as I mentioned, Central Time. Here's the first stone for Kerry Burtnyk of this third end.
Trying to find a way to get out of this without giving up 2 points, and if he can roll here to the 4-foot,
which he does,
hoping his next one he would have a roll, and if Jeff can roll back to where it was, it's going to be tough for Kerry to avoid giving Jeff a shot for 2.
So Stoughton will try to take out that red rock and roll back toward that one of Burtnyk's on the left of your screen.
And Jeff can be pretty aggressive here, because even if he was to roll out, his shot rock is dead buried behind those corner guards, and really the only way that Kerry would be able to get out of it is by either drawing around them altogether, which is not a lot of room to do that, or playing some sort of run back. So doesn't want to leave it, but Jeff can be aggressive with this roll to try and roll back to where it just was.
First stone for Jeff Stoughton of this third end. As John Meade mentions, trying to hit and roll toward the 12-foot. And he does. And hangs around just on the edge. Not second shot though, but still holding shot rock. By the way, we're also in Northwest Ontario and into Sault Ste. Marie, so how do you folks there as well?
Sault Ste. Marie just hosting a pretty successful Scotties, where some young lady by the name of Jennifer Jones managed to capture, what, her 4th title now?
3 in a row.
3 in a row and 4.
Fourth over her career.
Yeah. So impressive. But that rollout giving Kerry a chance to potentially wiggle out of this and force Jeff into a single. And he's got a couple ways he could do that. He could play a run back on the guards, but they are Jeff's guards, so he could make a pretty good shot and still give up a shot for 2. But so he's going to try and draw around this and get it tucked and at least make it tough, make Jeff make a tough shot for his second point by having to make a tap. We've seen this run pretty straight, so it might be tough for Kerry to get fully buried behind these rocks.
Oh, wait for it.
He's got a lot of curling to do.
He's telling his front end to wait for it because it hasn't started to move yet. Now it will start to move across that center line. As it gets toward the house and in behind the top guards. And now trying to move and will move in for shot. Is that exactly where he wanted it, John? Or
he'd love that rock to have traveled another
little further?
2.5 feet and be shot in the back of the 8-foot. Right now it's about 3/4, 7/8 exposed, and if it curls another few feet, it's going to be only maybe a half or a third open. And they just sort of got caught with the sweeping. They would have loved to sweep it for weight, but there was no point in sweeping it all the way to the back of the 8-foot to be wide open either. So they had to wait for it to start to curl, and they put it about as good a spot as they could with the line that it did. And you know, for Jeff, this is the tricky thing about this is, can they trust how it's going to run? Because they've seen some rocks really run straight up the sheet here. Jeff really has to be careful with his weight not to overthrow this, because this is a big 2 points to get back even.
Stoughton trying to make Burtnyk's shot rock go away and stick for 2 here with his final stone in the 3rd. They haven't touched it. Now they're on it.
Yeah, he looks nice, and that's just a good solid throw and
makes
great control of tap weight there. Good 2 points by Jeff Stoughton, and they're back to even.
So Burtnyk gets 2 in the 2nd. Stoughton comes right back with the hammer. He gets 2 in the 3rd. We're locked at 2 after 3. 2010 Safeway Championships on Shaw.
You're in the Northern League now, son. Section F, row 10, seat 2.
Season tickets, 9-game mini packs, and group packages now available. Call 982-BASE.
Eating right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Over 130 options to choose from, found exclusively at Safeway. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
Geldwen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
This is Harvey. He was left alone, tied to a pole outside of the Winnipeg Humane Society. This is Harvey now. He was adopted and now enjoys life in his forever home with a family that adores him. Watch the IAMS 1001 Donations Telethon live on Shaw TV March 28th and give another pet a chance to be as happy as Harvey.
There's a line shot into center field.
Is it going to get there? No. And what a great ball that is. And again, the goalie's there. A challenge. I'm not sure if it's been bundled in.
Nice hit by Sunias, and that's
power play for the Moose.
Sports Select, Sports Talk. Wednesdays and Sundays, only on Shaw. Let's talk.
Welcome you back to the T.G. Smith Center in Steinbach, Manitoba. Paul Edmonds, John Mead, Jim Toth, and the rest of our crew on Shaw here. This 4th end brought to you by Steinbach Credit Union. SCU, are you a member? 2-2 after 3 in a good curling semifinal here of the 2010 Safeway Championship. Winner to meet Mike McEwen at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And Steve Gould's first of 2 stones in this end. By the way, not a lot of people know this, but you and I went to high school together. And I always knew, John, that you were pursuing the curling angle. And I was pursuing the hockey angle, and look where that ended up me. And look where that ended up you. Back in high school.
Well, I was a big fan of playing hockey too. I was built better for curling. I haven't got hit near as hard in curling.
Well, let's just say this. I'm sort of giving you a backhanded compliment because I never made one dime in hockey as a player.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty fortunate, and I've had the opportunity to play with some pretty amazing curlers and Hall of Famers, and they've taken me to some pretty neat places and some pretty big games, and I don't think back then I would have ever imagined that it would have turned out the way it has for me, and it's been a lot of fun. First couple times that we've seen some mistakes by Team Burtnyk, and we saw it last end. Not in great shape early in the end, and then Don Walchuk with a very uncharacteristic, complete wide open miss on a rock that was fairly open, and it allowed Jeff to get his 2 points. And now we see after Steve putting a pretty good guard up, Garth coming up light, and we now have overlapping guards. That creates a pretty good opportunity for Jeff to get to the button first. Steve can put this in the top of the forefoot, really dictate how this end is going to be played. And after being down 2 points after 2, if Jeff can force Kerry to a shot for 1 here, they've worked their way back into this game. And
Gould's second will sit and slide back of the tee line and just on the edge of the 4. When you have the 2 guards out front and the end shapes up after 3 stones like this, obviously you're trying to think steal all the time when you don't have the hammer, but do you start to think that it's more of a possibility when it starts to have this scenario unfold if you're Jeff Stoughton?
Yeah, Jeff's looking at this going, we can make this pretty messy for Kerry, and if we're careful, the scoring area is going to be real small, and it's going to be at the very worst for Jeff. If they make their shots, it's going to be tough for Kerry to find a way to get 2 points.
First idea is holding the 1.
Sure.
But if you can get the steal, great.
Absolutely, right? and that's where these rocks have to be so well positioned, and that's a real nice shot by Garth Smith after Steve coming a little bit deep. So they are shot, but you see now, as good a shot that is, if Jeff can freeze to it, Kerry has to start protecting, and how do you get your second point? So
Rob Fowler's first of this 4th end.
But again, you have to be careful because you have your Rob Fowler a little bit heavier clip off here and sort of bounce off and leave Kerry a chance to put a second one in there. It is one of these situations that could get away from either one of these teams pretty quickly with rocks that you can use for backing and guards that you can't run back.
And he'll just sit on top, a little bit of separation.
Yeah, just 6 inches too much weight there at the end.
Burtnyk still shot rock.
An opportunity here for Richard if he can ever freeze across the face. The angles are going to be real good for Kerry, and key here is just try and put this on the top of the forefoot. Don't try and make too much out of it. Just try and draw to the center line and top forefoot.
Starting to curl and move its way around those guards, and into the house it comes, trying to sit on top of Stoughton's yellow. And he got a little more curl, gets over to the center line. That's a pretty good shot.
It's a real good shot by Richard.
Top 8, top 12.
But again, it's the same shot for Rob. If he can make that, just follow Richard down and put it on half of that rock. The angles, it's all about maintaining the angles for Jeff Stoughton and Kerry Burtnyk here. And
Line's good.
can't afford to make a big mistake here, though, and be heavy.
Yep.
We're starting to see the stones pile up in the house, and here comes another one to add to it. And this is curling, and where will it finish?
That's a great shot by Rob.
Right on top.
Such nice angles there, and that he can't, tough for Kerry to hit anything.
Burtnyk still sitting shot, but as you see on the screen, or just did, 6 rocks in play.
So Kerry going to try and ask Richard to move these things around a little bit to create some better angles. And the hard thing for Richard now is he's throwing a little bit more weight and in a different path, and it's just a little bit more precise.
And I don't know if he's going to get it around that guard, and not very happy with that shot.
Yeah, just light.
Underthrew it.
Yeah, just light, and
kind of rolls over toward the tee line, and you have 3 guards up top, all kind of bunched up. And then, as we mentioned, 4 rocks in the house. 5 rocks in the house, actually.
Move it. Hack.
Okay, we need to.
And now Jeff Stoughton saying, do you want to Richard or to Kevin Park, do you want to move it too? So
yeah, it's one of those.
It probably won't hit it. Play bumper. Might touch it.
Can't see much, eh?
No. Oh, that's no good.
You don't like that?
He goes like
if you
that.
Can't see.
Like hack?
Well, if you can't see it, let's not throw it.
Hit it.
Jeff saying, well, that's no good.
Yeah, bumper's good.
You don't mind a freeze, eh? We don't see much of this rock.
Well, if we're going to freeze here then.
I think we should be freezing the high one and then slap
Now,
it next time.
you know, when you got to this level, I mean, obviously Kevin Park's not comfortable with what the original call was because he couldn't see the rock. So, you know, you're comfortable with sort of voicing that opinion, but you want to have some congruency with your skip too here. I mean, you guys can't be barking back and forth at different ends of the rink. And
at some point, you got to get to a consensus that everybody's going to be on board. It's really tough. It's tough enough to make these shots at the best of times, but if you've got different thoughts in the back of your head, and it makes it that much harder. And I think the decision making here is again, what's our goal here in this situation? Are we going to try and force Kerry to one? Or are we going to try and find a way to steal? And I think Jeff's looking at it by moving things around. If we make a couple good shots, we can steal here. And Kevin Park and those guys saying, you know, the angles aren't that great yet. Let's not make something for Kerry. So they've ended up talking about the freeze, and I like
really
this play.
Moved.
Yeah.
And he'll sit down on top.
That rock really curled.
Yeah, that's not, I think, what they wanted to do. They wanted to be more on the outside of those 2 yellows and not come down on top of it.
Exactly, because they know that then Kerry would probably have to guard it, because if they can see a lot of that, the angles would really be to Jeff's favor. They might be able to hit it, get rid of 2 red stones.
He has a hard time hitting those rocks.
Well, at this point, unless you're going to throw a blast, and I don't know where you would come down with hard enough weight to try to move some things around. Burtnyk line shot stone, but for Stoughton, not a bad position to be in, because I don't know that with him being second shot that you can pick that second shot yellow out to try to sit for 2.
And with the way the guards are, there really aren't very many good angles for Kerry. So he's just trying to put a rock in a spot that might allow him to get that second point. So he's elected this out turn, and because on the other side as well, there isn't a whole lot that Jeff can do with those angles either.
How about that? Shorts in a curling rink. And we're, what, 3rd week in February coming up? 14th today. Tomorrow will be officially the 3rd week in February. First shot for Don Walchuk. And they're going to come around the other side this time.
This is a bit of a setup shot, and they need to get fully buried here. If this rock stays open, it'll leave Jeff a double and get rid of that one on the button. Just trying to freeze to his own.
Very nice shot.
It is a good shot, Paul, but the effect of it bouncing off like this is, as you see it coming into the rings here, line, they had to sweep a little bit for line to get it by, and it's just that 6 inches too heavy. If he freezes to it right there, it's dead buried, and Jeff's gonna have a hard time. But it's bounced out enough now that by hitting, he can see enough of it to make this thin double and spin that rock off of the button and be shot rock, and a shot rock that Kerry can't get to because it's buried behind so many staggered rocks. So this is again, when we talk about forcing the play to the forefoot, there's so little room to maneuver that it's going to take just one little miscue like this, and he was only a foot heavy. And that's why you force the play to the middle when you don't have last rock.
Kevin Park trying to get it with some up weight around those guards, and will they? Yes, and the pick. Perfect. Nice double takeout for Kevin Park, and get those two Burtnyk stones, the one on the can out, the other biting the button. Great shot by Kevin Park.
Great sweeping here. Hard on it, out of his hand, has to hit as little as he possibly can to make that double, makes no mistake, and
just skinnied it by that one guard too, that Burtnyk read just off the center line up top.
So a real good shot, but again, Kerry can follow us down. Don Walchuk just did this, and if he can put it back on the top of the button, it's going to make Jeff be real precise as well. So key here is to be buried on the top of the button, cannot go deep and allow Jeff to play a freeze in there, because if Jeff can freeze one to the back of the button, Kerry might not have an opportunity to score. This rock really curling as the weight comes off.
Around the guards and trying to get into that pocket. And he just rubbed his own.
Just a little short, and I think he's got second shot there now over the one in the back of the forefoot.
I believe you're right.
Too bad that hole wasn't a little.
And Park and Stoughton will talk a little bit about it. By the way, minus 19 is the current temperature. A little chilly this morning. It was a nice day yesterday. Got up to about minus 7 or minus 8 here in Steinbach, and overnight she dropped in the mercury, but winds picked up. I was glad to get in the rink. I was only about, I don't know, 100 yards from my parking spot to the front door of the T.G. Smith Center here in Steinbach, and it was a quick run in with the wind picking up.
So for Jeff Stoughton, they're now shot rock, and there's nothing on this intern side that Kerry can see or do. So by Don Walchuk not being shot stone, it allows Jeff to guard up the outturn path for Kerry Burtnyk. And if Jeff can throw a good guard here, it'll be tough for Kerry to get into that forefoot. So they just talking about deciding what's the best way to throw this guard. And they've elected this intern and curl to the wings. They can control a little bit more.
Got to curl. Yep. No, line's fine.
Now it's starting to move across that center line.
I want to get this guard out there and take that tap away for Kerry. Really no good run back opportunities here for Kerry.
Haven't been at all in this end because those three stones up top of the house.
There for him to come off. Yeah, but then if we leave it here, then he's got the crotch into there, like.
Well, into there, yeah. But if this rock's down here, he's not.
I can't get that rock to here and leave the shooter here. I'm only hitting this. I'd have to roll to here.
There's no hole here for him to come through. There's no hole here. There's no hole for him to come through.
I'd rather peel the rock here, make him do that again, and then try that for, if we think we can do it for one. We're flirting with disaster if we play that, I think. Personally.
Okay.
But well, then I'd rather play the bump, but timeout.
Timeout, Kerry Burtnyk, as he discusses this shot with Don Walchuk. Don Walchuk is not mic'd, by the way. Kerry Burtnyk is. And I think Kerry makes a real good point. He's sort of seeing it a little bit.
Don, if I come down and I rub the 5 instead, now he's got an easy shot to do that to lie 2 with me having nothing.
I'm saying is if you make this, it opens the door for.
But I'd rather throw that on my last one.
Even if the shooter goes over here, there's no way for him to get in here. Well, whatever. It gives us something, right? Off that even, right? Off our red. Yeah, well, he's not going to lie more than one on us. Huh?
There's lots of ways he could, yes. Okay, if I clip the 5, now he's got a half open rock here to bang that, get all these and be lying 4 buried. Well, I'm just thinking get rid of it.
Yeah, I like this, but whatever.
Kerry wants to peel here, that one yellow up top, and then come around with a second shot, forcing Stoughton's last stone to do exactly what he did with that yellow as the guard. And Don Walchuk's trying to talk him out of it.
Yeah, probably here, just wait.
I don't like it at all. Not even a little bit.
Well, let's do that then.
Yeah, you know, and Don Walchuk
Wow,
is.
but I don't really want to run that 6 off.
Jeff Stoughton's team done a really good job of creating good angles
Not
for
if
them.
I just play. I have to play big weight.
See, I think Don's strategy here is that he thinks that if Kerry could make the shot, and they're going to play what Kerry wanted and remove the guard, but Don's thinking if you make the shot, then they got a chance to score 1 or maybe 2. Where Kerry's thinking if I don't, I'm going to give up a bundle here on the steal.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a little bit more conservative in the shot playing here to try to avoid giving up.
Yeah, and Kerry looking for a way to score, and Don, I think, with playing those taps in the rings, seeing there is still a couple reds around there, if they could ever make something, put it in play, and Jeff makes a little mistake, they might even be able to find a way to make a double for 2 at the end of this. But Kerry's right. If the angles don't work out quite right, and they leave Jeff some sort of in-off to get rid of that other red rock in the 4-foot, you know, Kerry's not going to have a shot against 3 or 4 buried. And so Kerry trying to peel. Just hitting it a little bit thin, and that yellow rock stays as a guard. And now for Jeff, is there a way for him to lie more than 1 buried in the 4-foot?
Yeah. All right, just guard it, I guess.
Well, it was a good discussion between Skip and third.
Throw it up here.
And not the desired result when the stone came down the sheet.
A little more.
The real nice thing here for Jeff is that,
I guess so. I don't know.
He'd love to find a way to lie more than 1 buried, but
Plug the hole and see what happens.
if he can plug that hole, the only shot that Kerry is going to have to try and get shot rock is to run something in, and it's going to be a Jeff Stoughton stone that he is running in, and you always hate to run in your opponent's stone into the 4-foot, and probably isn't a lot of danger because of the way those rocks are lined up. It's hard to get rid of that red one on the top of the 4-foot, but Kerry's going to have to make to score point, probably going to have to make a pretty nice double tap.
Stoughton's final stone of this 4th and a 2-2 tie.
Just trying to plug this hole.
Yep.
Hard. Yep. Hard.
And he does successfully. And now Burtnyk will, well, as he was talking about during the timeout, try to come in on the, what would be, from our screen perspective, the right-hand side, and that's what he's looking at right now.
Yeah, and Jeff's guard really good. It not only guarded the hole, but
I can't hit the 4.
it guarded the taps. I'm not sure that actually Kerry can score. I guess the only thing he might have is to be able to hit what he can see of that middle yellow in the 8-foot and spin his red one in. But he can't see. He might not be able to see.
Play easy, wait.
If he was to ever hit the yellow too hard and spin his red right out of the 4-foot, he brings in a steal of 2 certainly into play.
More ice. There more.
Well, right now, Stoughton line 1.
Just trying to tap the yellow onto the red and spin his red in for shot.
Final stone for Kerry Burtnyk here in the fourth. Facing one with a mess in the house. And he's going to wreck up top and give up one.
Nice job
Maybe
by
two.
They're looking at it, but I don't think it is. I think it's just for one.
Just one. So Stoughton scores 3 in a row, 2 at the hammer and a steal here in 4, and leads 3-2. We'll go to the 5th after these on Shaw.
Come on, Goldie, show me some hustle. I'm not laughing.
Season tickets, 9-game mini packs, and group packages now available. Call 982-BASE.
Email direct. Safeway savings sent directly to you. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
Do you know that your dentist sees more than just your teeth?
In fact, dentists are the only oral health care professionals uniquely qualified to examine, diagnose, and treat the tongue, teeth, gums, mouth, and jaw.
Only your dentist has the education and expertise to diagnose and treat all of your oral health needs.
To find out more, visit manitobadentist.ca regularly.
Trust your dentist. Good for you. Good for life.
Hi.
Hi. Patience. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Eating right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Over 130 options to choose from, found exclusively at Safeway. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
Well, they call it the Automobile City. It's worth the trip. Steinbach, Manitoba, the host city of the 2010 Safeway Championship here on Shaw. And this fourth end, actually fifth end, brought to you by Jeld-Wen Windows and Doors, proud supporter of Manitoba Curling. Through 4, 3-2, Jeff Stoughton leads it in the semifinal. Winner between Stoughton and Burtnyk will take on Mike McEwen this afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're only, you know, you can't, you're not in the
That was a tough end for Kerry Burtnyk, John Meade, because it just seemed like there was a lot of pressure put on by Stoughton, and he didn't have really much to work with to try to get his one.
Yeah,
at least.
And you know, the names that we recognize out here are the Jeff Stoughtons, the Kerry Burtnyks, and the Mike McEwens, and but really what we're seeing in this game is the importance of those first few stones setting things up. And in the first two ends, Kerry Burtnyk's front end dictated how the ends were going to be played out by putting the rocks in the perfect spot. And they jumped off to a 2-point advantage. And then in these last two ends, Jeff Stoughton's team has been able to dictate the play by being in a better spot after leads and seconds rocks. And what it's doing is it's forcing the other third into very difficult shots, very precise shots. It's forcing errors out of Kevin Park early, forcing errors out of Don Walchuk late, and then at the end of the end, in the second half of this, Kerry Burtnyk has not had a lot to work with. So it's really the front ends right now that are dictating how this game is being played out. And Jeff Stoughton's team has been able to claw back in this, get some control back in this game, and Kerry's team's going to have to go back on the offense. They've given up that control that they started with, and you know, I really think that that whoever can play better in the front end in the second half will give their skip the hammer coming home, and that's how you have to be able to play at this level. You have to have great contribution from all four guys.
How heavy?
Steve masking his disappointment there well. They were just sort of caught betwixt and between and not leaving the sweeping as late as they could because it was just a little bit heavy, and they didn't want to be on the back of the forefoot buried and just rubbing, and just the critical error there. Steve just being 2 feet heavier than he wanted to be and rubs the guard as a result.
Garth Smith, second stone. They're going to take out and a roll, and will he hold the shooter? He will, just on the back of the 12.
Nice shot there by Garth Smith and rolling, and yes, it's behind the tee line, but it means that Jeff's going to have to go to the corners, which is where Kerry wants this played, and even a good shot here by Rob Fowler, Kerry will be able to follow him down, and this is where Kerry wants it played to find a way to score 2 points.
First stone of the seconds.
Mine's
Here in this
good.
5th end.
Mine's good.
Jeff wanting to get this rock all the way back there.
Yep.
Freeze to it and take it out of play.
Hard, guys, hard. Great line. Come on, go. Varsity, go.
Sweeping hard to get it all the way back there.
Shot.
And a nice shot by Rob. Really nice path.
And shot stone for Stoughton.
An opportunity, though, as we said, for Richard. If he can make a good freeze here, he's on the tee line. He'll be buried, and he will have backing, so Jeff won't be able to get rid of it. And it's going to get tougher and tougher for Jeff to be making freezes, be shot rock, and not be in a position for Kerry to take it out.
Hold on. Got some room. Get close.
And as John says, same path down.
Stay on it.
And freeze right to it. Though I think Stoughton still has shot rock.
Yeah, just a little late on the sweeping call, and I think Kerry got fooled thinking it was heavier, and he left it as long as he could because he thought it was heavy. And actually, the weight was great, and they sweep that a little bit earlier. They keep a good angle to shot rock, and just a small miscue there, and it's now allowed Jeff to go around the center guard, this tight center that Steve threw early. So a bit of an unforced error there. That shot could have been made much better than it was. Rob needing to get in here for shot rock, though, doesn't want to give Kerry an opportunity to go back to that corner. We've seen such great curl here, even with a tight guard. Be certainly possible for Rob to be buried in the top of the forefoot.
Waiting for it to swing, and now it starts to move. And they're going to sit right on the button.
Real nice shot by Rob, and
Pretty much dead on.
Kerry leaves with a nose peel here. You might be able to get all 3 of those yellows moving. Richie,
and up weight from Deno.
Yeah, and Richie, a good hitter.
One, and that's it.
Yeah, so it overcurls a little bit, and Jeff's team back on the offense here, and just that slight little miscue on Richard Daniel's stone, and really not Richard's fault. He threw that shot good enough to be made, and just not the best sweeping communication there, and a nice aggressive opportunity for Jeff to be guarding a rock right on the edge of the button.
Kevin Parks first in this 5th.
Quite a bit of room.
Trying to throw up a guard.
And he needs to make sure that he guards the out-turn side. If this overcurls and exposes, he doesn't mind showing half a rock on the in-turn side because there's no doubles, but if it overcurls on the other side, it would leave a double takeout potential. But that's just
right on the center line.
Yeah, and that's a real good guard. He probably would like it another 3 feet deeper because with the amount of curl Don Walchuk can get to this rock, and
that's what Don's looking at right now.
But it has eliminated, it should be eliminating those rocks out behind the corner guard for. That's the goal here for Jeff Stoughton, as he's trying to get the play into the 4-foot here, and even a good shot here by Don Walchuk. Jeff can follow him down and really make that scoring area small. But that guard just needed to travel another couple feet for Kevin Park to make this shot that much tougher. Don Walchuk can get to the nose and be shot and pretty buried behind the center guard.
Clean up. Hard line.
Walchuk's first.
This is probably their best opportunity to get this rock off the button, though, so they do need to make sure that they get it, and he's comfortably by the guard.
And a real good nose hit to knock it right out.
Yeah, nice shot by Don. Good control of weight, and would have loved to get a little inside roll, but to do that, he would have had to play really close to the guard, and if he ever just feathers the guard and doesn't get rid of anything, boy, they're in trouble. So a good, smart shot there by Don Walchuk. Good throw.
Park will try to do the same thing here.
Yeah.
And get more of a roll, though.
Yeah. Jeff's looking at this. Yeah, it could be an opportunity to steal, but if they just exchange shots here, Jeff will be lying too when Kerry goes to throw his last one. And so it's as much as anything, if he can nose hit it, it's an opportunity to force Kerry into just scoring one. Again, Kevin just a little bit careful there and rolls off more, and now Kerry might have some opportunities.
Kind of hung out there a little bit.
Yeah, a little heavy.
Kind of firm, easy.
Don Walchuk will come all the way down to have a look. And
Half or less, eh? Yeah.
Question is, did that rock roll out far enough that he can actually roll all the way across the sheet and make a double takeout in lie 3? Kerry's warming things up, and it just rolled far enough. The only problem here is that long center guard is in the way. He's going to have to get pretty tight to make that roll all the way over to make the double. So it is bringing the guard into play a little bit, and he could also just play the hit and roll behind the center guard.
Walchuk's second. And Sweeper's right on it.
Working hard
Will he
to
get it by the guard? He will. Gets one. Rolls over. And will remove his own and the shooter.
Just over curling a fraction. They flirted with the guard, and Richie and Garth working really hard, and they get it by the guard, and it just continues to curl, and he hits an inch too thin, and it slides harmlessly by the back of the yellow. If he hits just any more of it and makes that double, Kerry Burtnyk lying 3, and Jeff in a real tight situation. But Jeff back to the offense, getting a chance to draw around this center guard and lie 2 and put a better rock in there, much more buried. That center line guard is perfectly positioned on the middle of the center line, so Jeff can get this buried on the top of the button.
Stoughton without the hammer, line 1. And as John says, looking to get on top of the button and sit 2.
And the flow of this game has really turned around since the first 2 ends, where Jeff and Kevin Park were really having the tougher shots, and in the last 3 ends, when Jeff's come to throw, he's had easier shots, more aggressive shots.
Just kind of hanging out there a little bit.
Yeah, they know that this will finish. It's all about judging the weight perfectly.
And it moves nicely. And how about right on the 4-foot behind cover?
Yeah, it's a good shot, but Jeff knows that it's over curled, and Kerry can get to it now on the outturn side and bring a double into play in lie 2, and he would love that rock to have been that much more exposed on the in-turn side. So it's a good shot, but it's opened the door here for Kerry to bring that red rock behind the corner into play, try and score 2 points. So an opportunity here.
So Burtnyk will try to come the other way.
More ice.
Asking for a little more ice from Don Walchuk. You know, and it's funny too. I mean, you've mentioned that maybe Stoughton has grabbed a little momentum here. That could maybe turn back in Burtnyk's favor with this one shot.
Absolutely. And again, it's those tiny little mistakes, and Jeff's team just taking that rock a foot farther than maybe they wanted to in retrospect, working so hard to put it in a great spot. It's just, it's over curled. And
Burtnyk's first.
They're working hard to get this by the center guard.
And they do. Just skinny it by. Curling nicely. Removes Stoughton's rock and rolls over. And will sit there for shot stone. Freezing to Stoughton's.
He didn't
one yellow.
Yeah, he didn't make the double, but that roll is really good because for Jeff to get it out, you see him working really hard to get this by the center guard. They do so nicely, and they stay on it. Hit it a little bit thicker than they wanted here. They hit it thick. They roll over and move their own red, but it does stay cornered on the yellow stone, and it's partially behind the guard. Very, very difficult for Jeff to get rid of that stone now.
Get to the nose.
Yeah. Okay, let's give it a try. Bumper.
Scary situation here for Jeff. He feels that with bumper weight, he can get to the nose and get rid of that red stone and then roll over on top of the other red and force Kerry to one. But the problem that he's got here is if he doesn't hit it perfect, he certainly runs the risk of leaving two red rocks in the rings and give Kerry a draw for three or a hit for three. And likewise, if he was to ever rub the guard, he has to get very, very close to the guard here to do this. If he rubs the guard, he does the same thing. So the other option that Jeff could do here, is to draw around to the top of the forefoot behind that center guard and hope Kerry doesn't make a tap for two. This is a really an all or nothing shot.
Final stone for Jeff Stoughton.
Needs to get by, get all the way to the nose. He needs to get by this guard first.
He does. And removes that red and will sit for shot stone.
A nice shot, and didn't curl quite as much as I think they thought it was going to. They were really on that early and needed to get by the guard, and he does that. They would have liked to get by just a little bit closer and allow them to get a little flip under the guard, but he gets all the way to the nose, and he does make sure that he gets rid of one red, but that rock is pretty much exposed now, and it's just the same path for Kerry Burtnyk to come down. So
and get two?
Yeah, to get two. So a real big turnaround from Jeff throwing a draw on his first one to lie two, and again, those little mistakes. Jeff Stoughton's rock over curling just that much, and Kerry Burtnyk, making no mistake now, is a shot for two.
Burtnyk's final stone, trying to grab some momentum back and get a deuce here with a takeout of that Stoughton stone.
This is all about throwing the right weight.
Right off.
Kerry definitely
he's heavy.
much wider than Jeff's path.
And he got a bump off his own. Can they hold the shooter? They do not. It will be one.
Yeah, Kerry was just a much wider path. I think he threw the weight that he wanted, but you could see out of his hand that he was much more close to the center line than Jeff's ever was. And you have to take advantage of those opportunities. You can't throw points away against this good team. So Jeff Stoughton's team really has turned this thing around through five. It's a tie ball game after five, and Jeff Stoughton has managed to get the hammer from Kerry. So both teams have worked really hard to get to this position, but Jeff, little momentum.
So one for Burtnyk, gives up the hammer, going to sixth. It's the fifth end break. And a very good semifinal. Here, nothing settled through five ends in Steinbach. And we'll wait for Jim Toth to get set up and have a little chat with the skips here in the fifth end break. Fifth end break brought to you by Granny's Poultry. And they'll do a little cleaning of the ice. And down to Jim Toth with Kerry Burtnyk.
Thanks, Paul. This is Kerry Burtnyk, and just one there. Obviously, you wanted two.
Yeah, that was a bad mistake on my part. I don't know. The shots have all been pretty difficult, and that one was a little too easy. I guess maybe I lost my concentration, but we got our one, and we're tied. So now we're going to have to work hard because we're got the advantage against us. But we got five ends left, and we'll see what we can do.
What's the focus not only for the five ends, but especially here in the sixth?
Well, the focus is going to be more of the same. I think it's probably going to be a reasonably aggressive game going forward. Both of us have been going after each other quite a bit, and it's going to be who gets the right rock in the right spot at the right time and takes advantage of it. And, so far it's been a bit back and forth that way, and I expect to see more of that in the second half.
Is there a lot more curl on the ice today?
In certain spots there is, but in certain spots it's a little bit straighter too. So and it's pretty fast today, which is faster than it's been most of the week. So, all in all, the ice is real good.
Kerry, thanks for this. Good luck in the last 5.
Oh, thanks very much.
Kerry Burtnyk, skip, who is now tied with Jeff Stoughton at 3 apiece. And this is your 5th in break, brought to you by Granny's Poultry. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more on the qualifier for today's final at the 2010 Safeway Championship, only on Shaw TV.
Right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Over 130 options to choose from, found exclusively at Safeway. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
Geldwen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Do you know that your dentist sees more than just your teeth?
In fact, dentists are the only oral health care professionals uniquely qualified to examine, diagnose, and treat the tongue, teeth, gums, mouth, and jaw.
Only your dentist has the education and expertise to diagnose and treat all of your oral health needs.
To find out more, visit manitobadentist.ca regularly.
Trust your dentist. Good for you. Good for life.
Coming soon to Shaw Video On Demand.
What is he doing?
I told him the camera was in the lamp.
No. No.
How about this guy, Whitaker? The guy's making $350 grand a year, and he turns informer. When does that happen?
Mark Whitaker, secret agent 0014. Why 0014? Because I'm twice as smart as 007.
Email direct. Safeway savings sent directly to you. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
And welcome back to Steinbach. Jeff Stoughton joins me now, and the break. Should I go like that? Are you getting tired of looking up to me this weekend?
Exactly. Things are going really well.
Let's just get your thoughts on the first 5 ends.
Not too bad. I mean, both teams have been a little sloppy, so hopefully we can make some more shots than them in the last 5. But you need a couple breaks, and we got 1 in 5 there when he rolled out, so we'll take it.
It's tough sledding for both of you guys. A lot of curl on the ice. Is it finding it hard to read?
No, not really. I mean, it's just really good ice. It's sliding well. The speed seems to be keeping up there, and we just got to position our rocks well.
I know your focus is always to score 1 more point than them in the next 5 ends, but what's the key for this 6th end? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm sure they're going to throw a center, and we'll go, and hopefully we'll keep things in front of the T line and score a deuce and 6 and move on from there.
Okay, Jeff, thanks for this. Good luck.
Thank you.
Jeff Stoughton, who is tied with Kerry Burtnyk after 5 ends. And right now we're going to bring in our good friend Daryl Braun. Daryl, how are you?
Jim, doing great, thank you. It's Sunday, and we've had some great curling all week. It's been quite a special week here in Steinbach.
Co-chair of the 2010 Safeway Championships here in Steinbach, and you said it, just great week out here. And second time you've been involved. Of course, you were 4 years ago. Much smoother this time?
Yeah, we had a committee with experience, and that helps a whole bunch. And so everybody knew their roles. We had great participation again from sponsors and from volunteers, and that all makes it happen and makes it come together. So yeah, it's been pretty seamless.
I was very impressed with the crowds during the weekdays at the noon draws and the morning draws. Those are always hard to get, but this is a curling town. Lots of people showing up.
Indeed, and the nice thing about a smaller size city like this is the big event going on this weekend, and so people want to be a part of it, and so that tends to help your attendance numbers.
Well, on behalf of us here at Shaw and everybody else, thank you very much for hosting such a great event. Congratulations, and I guess we'll see you in about 5-6 hours from now when the final's handed out.
Absolutely, Jim, and thank you, Shaw, for being here to televise.
Great, thanks, Daryl. And now we're heading back up to Beauty and the Beast. I'll let you figure out which one Paul Edmonds and John meet.
Well, I really don't want to touch that because I don't want to incriminate myself or insinuate that you were
I am
one
under
or the other.
no illusions.
Welcome back to Steinbach, and you just saw an outside shot of the third largest city in the province of Manitoba. Okay, John Mead, let's have an opportunity to talk a little bit about a couple of things. And just before we do that, this end brought to you by your Manitoba dentists. Trust your dentist. Good for you, good for life. Kerry Burtnyk said there was tough shots made in the first 5 ends, and maybe he missed an easy one. Jeff Stoughton counters by saying things were a little sloppy. So, you know, is it a hybrid of the two statements made by both skips?
Well, they both have seen what happens when your front end misses, right? We saw it in the first 2 ends with Jeff Stoughton's team, and Jeff's team on the defense having to make sure that they didn't give up a big number and as a result get down 2 points early, and then it turned around in the second half with Jeff Stoughton's front end playing really well. A couple of small mistakes here and there by Kerry's front end put the pressure back on Don Walchuk and Kerry Burtnyk, and that's what Kerry was alluding to, is those small mistakes make things very, very difficult for the guys throwing at the end of the end. And you know, it's interesting is as they both continue to rave about how good the ice is, and it is really good, but it does look, we've heard the word wow a couple times by both Kerry and Jeff, and that means that they're a little surprised by how a rock is run. And we've seen where in the first few days when guys were missing, it tended to be they missed across the face, too much curl. And these misses so far, Kerry's last one there, and we've seen some other ones, Don Walchuk with one early that didn't curl enough. It might be just a little bit faster today, and the net result of that is some of those bumper weight shots and the lightweight hits aren't curling as much. And if that is in fact the case, and it's just a small difference, if it's just a little bit different, I think it really gives the advantage to the team that comes out of this game going into the next one. Okay. We see Mike McEwen's team out here practicing, and they are smart enough to know how to make sure that they are aware of what's going on with the conditions. But if it's slightly different than what Mike McEwen played on last night, it gives the team that wins this game, played on it for 2.5 hours, just a little bit better feel. And it could be something that Mike McEwen's team could get caught on early in that game, this final, if they're not really careful. But again, we're talking very, very minute differences. This ice is still fantastic.
We're tied at 3. We're in the 6th end. And one thing I want to just ask you about in making that statement, will it change from, now Mike McEwen and his rink are practicing on the sheet to our left next to the center sheet where this semifinal is being played on. Would it change much from that sheet to the center sheet? Well, in terms of swing and curl. And
yeah, Mike McEwen's team isn't throwing to figure out what the ice is doing, because they're throwing on a sheet obviously that is not going to have the same amount of brushing. It's not the same sheet. They might be throwing with the stones that they plan to throw this afternoon, but they're really just practicing to maintain feel and get rid of some nervous energy and do the same things that they always do. And you know, the ice makers are doing the same thing from draw to draw. It's just, are the conditions slightly different because there's only one game, and that's causing things to just be a little quicker, right, and potentially just a little bit straighter when they are throwing those lightweight hits. So for Mike, I would expect that they are paying some attention to what's going on in this sheet, just to make sure that there aren't those little differences in the ice from what they played on yesterday.
Richard Dano.
No line.
And you can hear Kerry Burtnyk saying no line.
Yeah, Steve Gould slipping one a little bit deep, and Kerry Burtnyk's team followed it down, and then Rob putting a really nice shot in the top of the forefoot, and Richard trying to play a freeze to that, but he's heavy and he's going to slide by, and
he'll sit right there for shot stone, but be behind the tee line.
And it allows an opportunity here for Jeff to play a freeze into an area where Kerry's not going to be able to do much positive with it. So again, which one of these guys in the first 4 rocks on either side blinks, and a small miscue there by Richard. And there's an opportunity here for Jeff to put rocks in good spots and really apply some pressure again to Kerry.
Stoughton with the hammer here in the 6th. Rob Fowler's second stone.
Key here is weight. good weight, this rock will curl so hard at the end, and it'll allow Rob to get right to the face of that rock on the forefoot.
Real nice
Back to
line.
forefoot. Wants to get right to this rock. Does not want to bounce off. Pretty good. Would like to have seen that curl 2 more inches and be directly on the nose. Richard needing to follow him in and get to the inside. That rock in the top of the forefoot right now for Jeff is the one that's probably bugging Kerry, because it's going to more than likely come into play.
This one hanging out there again. Now it's starting to move.
Trying to get it all the way there.
With a good scrub.
Need to get it by this one on the top of the forefoot. And just a little late on the sweeping again, and
come up a little short.
Yeah, they seem to have got a little caught on a couple Richards, and I'm not sure if maybe Richard has a rock that's a couple feet slower and they haven't picked up on that yet, or if it's just a little bit tentative and knowing that they can't afford to bounce off. So now Jeff flying 2, throwing one in as a corner freeze and create some angles that Kerry can't get rid of 2. And Jeff's whole goal here right now is to maintain the advantage and try and find a way to score 2 at the end of this end.
We're going to wait on this a little bit too.
And he wants to really over curl.
Pass the curl.
Freeze right too.
It's a real nice shot. He's over curled so that there's no way for Kerry to get rid of both of those rocks, and
well, the pressure's been on Burtnyk the last 2 or 3 ends here from Jeff Stoughton in his rink.
What's that?
Lots of rocks in play, not a lot of options.
But yeah, but it's
trying to make tough shots.
probably coming into here, eh?
Freeze, kind of.
You're pretty close. Might leave it out here. You don't like that? Just banging it in there? Okay.
Took a little while for the answer, didn't it?
Yeah, and because they realize that there's a lot of yellows in good spots there, and Kerry thinking that they could just hit what they see of the red one and make that yellow one at the top of the forefoot go away, and that's really their danger rock right now. But Don really liking this tap freeze, recognizing that if he makes it really good, his red rock's going to be frozen, and they're probably overlapping in front of it, so Jeff won't be able to get to it very easily. But boy, Don's had tough shots the last few ends.
First stone for Wolchuk. Trying to play a tap freeze.
Yeah, they've changed their minds here. It's a little wide, and they're going to end up playing a tap.
Kind of hung out there and didn't come in when they wanted to really hit that yellow on the nose.
Yeah, he was trying to get right to the nose of the yellow one and tap his red one back, but it was a little high and a little wide and a little hard, and he just clips it and sort of plays the shot that Kerry called in the first place, but only with tap weight, and it's a miss. But you can see the problem now for Jeff Stoughton is that those angles at the top really favor Kerry, and Kerry will be able to play a tap on the yellow to the red and move it into the forefoot. So Jeff Stoughton scratching his head a little bit there. How do I defend against this? And he's going to defend by trying to come in and choke it off with another one in the top of the forefoot there.
So you got to be prepared to call the audible every once in a while.
Yeah. You know, and what Kerry's team did do there was by playing it quite as quiet, they weren't going to do too much harm to themselves either. And Kevin Park trying to get around here is tight early.
Something.
Yeah, it was definitely tight early.
Okay.
You could see his reaction, at least we could. He was, you know, about halfway down the sheet, he wasn't happy, and the sweepers kind of got a little confused as to what to do, because it really started to kind of yank on them a little bit. And they moved toward that center line and didn't have that sort of natural curl, and I'm wondering if it picked something up. So now what?
Well, it's back to those 2 rocks at the top that Don Wolchuk left after his last one, and Now an opportunity for Don to tap those up and get it into the button and be shot rock and leave his rocks in front of it. And all of a sudden it's an aggressive opportunity here for Don to get out of this end a little bit.
Try to get through that port, which is pretty wide.
Yeah, I actually called the wrong shot there. They're playing the hit and roll in off this one. Just over curling a bit, but pretty good angles now for Kerry up there. Yeah, I had called them playing the tap, and they decided to play the hit and roll in there.
No. Take ours out. We got to almost run the 3 in, I think, to make it go. Can't get this to here. You can't get to nose. You got to hit this rock on this side to make it go. You got to hit the 3 rock into it.
I think so.
Oh yeah, I mean, you almost have to hit this dead nutted almost, which is
that's not nose here. Okay.
No, he meant dead nose onto this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said he had nose and 3 rock. I don't. Okay.
It's close, actually. Yeah.
Just as hair high.
Hair high. Eesh.
So the debate, John, was whether to, with that guard, run it back and try to bust some things up, or just come in onto that yellow and hit it right on the nose.
Yeah, they are shot rock, but Jeff recognizes those reds are in good spots for Kerry, and he can't leave it. And there's no way to draw a second rock there, so they'd love to hit what they can see of the yellow one, but they think it'll just pick out their own red one and not improve it, so they're going to run this guard back at it. I think the angles are a little bit better, and hopefully maybe clip the 2 reds if they make good contact here on the one in the top of the 8-foot. But as much for anything as Jeff's trying to clean things up and open it up a little bit, so he might have a shot at least for 1 on his last one.
Kevin Parks. Shot will move a couple around, but
just a little thin, a little thinner, and ended up not moving enough. Would like to hit it a little bit harder. You see how it does come onto that red one, so if he hits it a little firmer, if he hits a little bit more of it, he might have made that double that they talked about, but just moves it back and certainly has opened things up for Jeff. But an opportunity here for Kerry to play a freeze, and he can get 2 in there on the button, and Jeff's going to need some dynamite to get him out. Does have to be careful though. If it ever didn't curl enough and just sat dead frozen on his, it might leave Jeff a pretty natural triple somewhere to get rid of a lot of red rocks and lie 2.
Well, this will be Burtnyk's first stone, and he's sitting right on the can with shot stone. And as John mentions, a lot of red in there with 3 yellows.
Kerry wanting to freeze in here, but just across the face a little bit, sort of towards that yellow stone. This rock curling hard and early. Needs to get all the way there. If he ends up being short at all, it'll allow Jeff to play a freeze tap.
Trying to get it there. Smith and Deneau. Freezes to his own.
Guys have got caught on that path a little bit. You know, we saw Kevin Parks over curl there.
I hardly want to move it. I don't want to move it so you can blast it out, eh?
Oh, we hit it out.
Well, my rock's here. If this rock's back here, this will go over the top, right?
No.
If we can get inside roll and move it like an inch, it's going to be hard to get the nose. I'd be rolling out.
Well,
here's good. I mean, we move it 1 inch, so we're good.
Gotta get shot, eh? That's the key.
Just a little more.
Stoughton asking for a little more ice as he backs his way down to the far end.
That Kerry's rock again just over curling a little light, and it's allowed Jeff to get in here, and you move Kerry's rock over towards the center line. And
an inch to get shot. I can't move it a lot because then you could just blast them out. I can't move it a lot because he'll just blast it out.
So what he's saying is he would like to get shot, but he really doesn't want to move that Stoughton or that Burtnyk rock right off of the button. Wants to keep it there.
Right, and they can move it to lie 2, but by moving it to lie 2, they might leave Kerry a pretty straightforward double, and Jeff's still trying to make sure that Jeff's still trying to find a way to score 2 points here, and he doesn't need to do it on this shot. The key here is to be shot rock and not leave an easy blast for Kerry. And call early is back 8, a little heavy, so they're really going to have to tap this to a perfect spot. Otherwise, Kerry's going to be able to play a tap to get it out.
There's your tap. So now Stoughton will sit shot rock. And Burtnyk will have his last stone, but he'll have a discussion with Don Wolchuk.
Nose and get in. Like, just get by that one, eh?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, just roll up to this one.
Well, no, I'm talking about just getting by and hitting that and squirming in here. You don't think so?
Yeah. I don't think you have to do it there.
Okay. Well, there's, okay. Intern. Yeah.
Again, Don Wolchuk not mic'd, and they were talking there about just trying to sit into that pocket there.
Yeah.
Intern.
A lot of catchers over there for the Wings, so Kerry can play this a number of different ways, and he's just going to try and hit and roll into probably the side of his red one, get rid of the 2 rocks on the button, roll across there, and be shot in front of the yellow one on the back of the tee line off the side of the 4. And
sit 4.
Well, he might only sit 1 because he's not going to get rid of that second yellow potentially, but Jeff won't be able to get rid of it, and Jeff's going to have a real tough shot, tough draw for 1.
Big weight here.
Makes that double.
There's 1.
And he does tap it, and
gets the tap on the second yellow. And we'll sit shot stone.
Or, yeah. I think so.
See coming in here, does pretty much what he wanted to do, and gets by and goes into the side of his taps, and he's shot. Hits it a little bit thinner, might have been better because he may have left a double for Jeff for 2.
Right there?
And that's what they're talking about right now.
Yeah, to make sure we score, we got to hit this one, because if I hit this, I might tick that 3 out. We might go flying out the top of the house.
Yeah, let's go for dead crotch.
Just here.
So, John, they're going to try to get right in the middle and separate those 2 reds out one side, out the other, and sit for 2 with that yellow that's 3rd shot right now, and then his shooter.
Yeah, there is a double here for 2, Paul, and the problem that Jeff has is that 1 red that's closest to the button, if he doesn't hit it quite right, could jam on the one that's in the back, just biting the back of the 4-foot on the other side of the center line, and could end up being shot. So it is for 2, but he has to be extremely precise, or he does risk giving up a steal.
Yep.
And he heard Jeff. We want to make sure we scored.
Final stone of the 6th. Stoughton looking for a double. Boom.
And no
he'll
mistake.
sit.
Great
he
shot.
got that red to roll far enough to the edge of the 4. He'll sit for 2 and take the lead at 5-3. Big shot. You said he had to be precise, and he was right on the money, was Jeff Stoughton.
They sweep this really hard to make sure that they hit it right in that crotch the way they set it, and they spin the red one across the top. Jeff saves his shooter, scores 2 points, and takes some control of this game.
So a deuce for Stoughton here in the 6th, and he leads 5-3. 7th end is next. You're watching the 2010 Safeway Championships on Shaw.
Come on, Goldie, really put your hips into it.
Season tickets, 9-game mini packs, and group packages now available. Call 982-BASE.
Eating right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Over 130 options to choose from, found exclusively at Safeway. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
Jeld-Wen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Coming soon to Shaw Video on Demand.
I don't understand. With Darby's testimony, Ames will go to death row. What? The jury's gonna believe me. The deal is done. I'm sorry. This is just how the justice system works.
This is Harvey. He was left alone, tied to a pole outside of the Winnipeg Humane Society. This is Harvey now. He was adopted and now enjoys life in his forever home with a family that adores him. Watch the IAMS 1001 Donations Telethon live on Shaw TV March 28th and give another pet a chance to be as happy as Harvey.
There you see Mike McEwen, who will take on the winner at 2 o'clock this afternoon Central Time. His rink from the Assiniboine Memorial Curling Club. Won the 1-2 page playoff yesterday to advance to the final, his first ever final appearance, and looking to be the champion of provincial men's curling. This end brought to you by the way, Granny's Poultry, proud supporter of Manitoba curling. And some practice going on from the McEwen rink. On the sheet right beside this semifinal between Stoughton and Burtnyk, and Stoughton leading by 2 at 5-3. Making a real nice double to score those 2 last end as we move to the 7th.
Yeah, we saw some misses that end, and they sort of gave each other opportunities to get out of, to create pressure and then get out of trouble. And I think if the only thing that, other than execution, I think the only thing that you might look back on from Kerry's perspective on that is his last one, and he had an opportunity there, and he actually made the shot pretty much as he called and still left Jeff a double. I think the only thing he could have done differently is played it just a little bit more quietly, so that when he makes that roll, he didn't disturb things quite as much, and would not have left that double. He moved one of his own stones out of the way to the point where he left that double. So again, little mistakes here, not quite as crisp as they can be, and Jeff Stoughton's team has taken full advantage of it. Kerry Burtnyk having that shot for 2 and 5 didn't make it, didn't get that second point. Jeff Stoughton chance for 2 in the 6th end, takes full advantage of it. So you can't miss your opportunities against these top teams too often and expect to come out on top on these games.
Steve Gould's second shot of this 7th. You know, it wasn't until yesterday morning that either Stoughton or McEwen had played a full 10 ends in this Safeway Championship. Yeah. They did yesterday morning and then again last night.
And Mike McEwen's team really has been dominant, and I don't know if they've actually been trailing at any point in this event through the 6 games that they've played. I think the closest that they've been to losing is starting the game when they've been tied. So I might be wrong with that, but in looking at the numbers, I think that was the case. So they've just been the best team here this weekend, and they're going to have an opportunity to finish it off this afternoon. But you know, it's a tall order to continue to have to beat these guys, these Jeff Stoughtons and Kerry Burtnyks, and in recent years people have not been able to do it. So I think Mike McEwen is as good as anybody out there right now is in terms of having an opportunity to win it. And I love that they're out here practicing. I think that's the right thing to be doing, and not just sit back and sit in their hotel room. And I think it's good for them physically to stay in touch with the conditions and see what's going on out here. I also think it's great for their mind to just sit in a hotel room and stew over what's coming up. You know, it takes their mind off things and allows them to just continue to do the things that they do. And so it's a good sign for them to be out here throwing, and something that teams can take a cue from.
Richard Deneau.
Garth
rocks in play again.
Yeah, Garth Smith's rock coming a little deep on his guard and slipping in the rings, and Jeff hitting the line 3, and a nice shot there by Richard, and showing some good approach there by Kerry. Could have just doubled everything out, but by just tapping things around, he's trying to bring that, Kerry's trying to bring that corner into play, and Richard with a nice split there. But a chance for a double here for Rob on the guard, and on the one on the 12-foot. We saw Matt Wozniak make these kind of shots last night over and over. And Rob Fowler 100% to this point in this game, and he's played really well, and
two.
A fantastic shot.
That's the double again. Well, you know, listen back to Mike McEwen for a minute and practicing here. You've been that guy that sat in the hotel room and had to think. And no, you'd rather be out here if you had the opportunity to look at the replay on that double made by Fowler here. Gets the first one and slides over and hit it a little thinly, that second red, but enough to kind of move it out of the way and doesn't hold the shooter.
No, just moving it enough that he opens up that back yellow, and a chance here for Richard to play this freeze, and if he can get it to the nose, it'll be very tough for Jeff to get it out. And again, that goes back to why Kerry just played a split on his first one and put some rocks back there that he can manipulate and try and create 2 points. So good shot by Richard on his first one, trying to make this freeze on his second one. And a nice shot. Needed a little bit more curl there. If that curls right to the face, it's going to be very tough for Jeff to get out. But now he can nose this rock. He doesn't mind getting rid of, if he does nose it, he takes out his own yellow behind it, but that's okay. That rock's behind the tee line and actually working to Kerry's benefit right now. So Jeff just looking for a nose hit here.
Whoa, guys. Whoa.
Kevin Parks first.
It's not going to come up to nose, so they make sure that they get it out and they don't create a pocket. So good shot there by Kevin, who again has played pretty well today. And Jeff Stoughton's team definitely got the edge in the numbers right now. And being out curled, Kerry Burtnyk's team is at every position except for lead, and Rob Fowler has 100% on the board right now, and he's played extremely well. And you just see that when the guy's playing well in front of you, it helps the guys on the back end play well. And Kevin Park and Jeff Stoughton both out curling Don Walchuk and Kerry Burtnyk a bit, and I think that's as a result of what Rob Fowler's been able to do at the second position since early in the game. It's really putting more pressure on Kerry and Don Walchuk, and the numbers reflect that.
Walchuk's first. Take out here. And a roll.
Great shot by Don Walchuk. What a nice hit and roll. And you know, you go back to Kevin Park's shot. Kevin Park had a chance to make that, to take that opportunity away, and just didn't quite do it. And Don Walchuk making a great hit and roll, and now much tougher for Jeff to get rid of that stone, because that guard is in the way.
Heel. Yeah. Room of the out, eh?
Just deciding which turn make this. And even if Kevin does make this, he probably rolls out, and Kerry can decide, do I freeze or do I go around that corner?
Real hard. Harder than red.
Around the guard.
Nice shot.
And he'll blast the 2 right out, including the shooter.
And it's such a nice shot by Don Walchuk. That hit and roll, and it's allowed Kerry to make decisions. Do I go for 2 points, or do I try and potentially blank this end and move on to the 8th end, not get forced to 1?
Here's Don Walchuk on his final stone of this end, but wearing Richard Deneau's jacket with the name bar on the back. Has all week.
Yeah, that's, you know, Don's just trying to be incognito and sneak around in these things, and
or maybe the jacket that they got him doesn't fit.
It could be. Well, and part of it is guys end up wearing different jackets because of sponsor rules. They end up wearing different jackets in this event.
Different spiels. And
yeah, they have their normal jackets that they wear on tour all year with all of their sponsors, and for a team like Kerry, they can't wear that same jacket here, so they go to a different set of jackets. And
yeah, if you didn't know, I mean, you would think there was brothers on the Burtnyk team.
Don Walchuk just a little heavy there and spinning off, and has allowed Jeff a chance to hit in line 2. And Jeff wanting to make this shot. He's going to grind pretty hard on this shot because he recognizes it's an opportunity to potentially force Kerry to 1 here. And if he's 1 up playing 8 with the hammer, he's now really got control of the scoreboard and can dictate how they play the 10th end, how they get to the 10th end. So he's going to grind hard to hit and stick here and try and force Kerry to take a point. Throwing lots of weight to make sure that he doesn't bring the over curl and jam into play.
First of the skip stones.
And no mistake.
And a takeout. Hits and sticks.
Does leave Kerry a double right back for sure.
Bump or weight, try and make the double. Do you like the bump?
And now Burtnyk and Walchuk will discuss it.
Okay, hack weight. Out turn.
So there's a couple ways they could play this. They could just play the double, but Kerry recognizing that if he ever played the double and rolled out, Jeff draws around that corner guard and forces him to 1. And so the other way to play this is to play a hit and roll on top and make it tough for Jeff to hit and stick and lie 2. So Kerry really...
I thought I'm playing hack weight.
And the other opportunity is just a straight tap and create a wall that Jeff would have to work with to try and get rid of that red rock. But Kerry going to play this little hack weight, try and hit and roll in front and make it real tough for Jeff to hit and stick to lie 2.
Stay close. No.
Kerry really just trying to find a way to blank this end.
Sure.
Needs to get a little bit across the face here, and we've seen them have a hard time in that path all game today. It's just not curling enough for them, and this rock just nose hit. So Jeff has got this same throw again to hit and stick to lie 2, and there would of course be a double for Kerry to make a double and roll out and blank, but the risk of that is of giving up the steal if he doesn't make it is too big. He doesn't want to be down 3 points.
So this, by making this, you would force Burtnyk to draw for 1.
Yeah, and that's why.
That's the safe play.
Yeah, and that's why Jeff's first one was such a good shot, and one that's easy to play safe and just hit and roll out. He's got this same throw again to lie 2.
Final stone for Stoughton here in the 7th. Leading by 2 and trying to force Burtnyk into taking 1 to end the end. And he rolls out.
Does, and a bit of a surprise there, and you could just hear it out of his hand that he was just a little bit full, a little bit wider than they needed it to be. It didn't curl up with the kind of weight that he threw, and again, just a little unforced error there, and just a little careful by Jeff.
So a takeout here by Burtnyk, and he'll want a blank.
Big difference in this scenario being down 2 playing 8 versus with the hammer versus 1 down without, and so that a pretty big miss by Jeff.
Final stone to the 7th. Burtnyk looking to hit and roll out and blank this 7th end and hold the hammer to the 8th.
These rocks way out on the wings can really curl because you still got very fresh pebble, and Kerry making a good throw and makes no mistake.
Easy
Blanking.
throw for the 5-time provincial champ, and they'll blank the end. And we get through 7, heading to the 8th. Stoughton on top by 2.
You're in the Northern League now, son. Section F, row 10, seat 2.
Season tickets, 9-game mini packs, and group packages now available. Call 982-BASE.
Email direct. Safeway savings sent directly to you. Visit safewaychampionship.ca for more information.
Geldwen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Shaw TV. On your rinks, in your schools, at your events, and on your streets. We're there to bring it home.
Meals on Wheels has been delivering meals for over 40 years in the community now. When a Shaw TV story airs, we find that we get calls right away. There is an impact, and without Shaw Cable doing stories for us, we wouldn't have the volunteers, we wouldn't be able to get the word out, and we wouldn't be able to continue our service, which is crucial to people in the community.
We're there to bring it home. Shaw TV, your local voice.
Geldwen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Welcome back to Steinbach TG Smith Center, Steinbach, Manitoba, the host venue for the 2010 Safeway Championship. Glenn Shaw, Paul Edmonds, John Mead with you, Jim Toth, roving reporter.
Sleeping on a bench actually right now, I think.
At this 8th end, brought to you by Wellington West Capital, proud supporter of Manitoba curling.
So we've got a 2-point lead for Jeff playing 8, and the goals are very clear. Kerry Burtnyk probably looking at this going, how do I get this to be a game where I'm 1 down coming home with last rock? And he does that by getting 2 here, forcing Jeff to 1 and 9. That's his
Sure.
best case scenario right now, realistically, unless he can find a way to get a 3 or a steal. For Jeff Stoughton, he knows that if he can force Kerry to 1 or even a blank, that he's probably worst off if they make their shots tied up coming home with last rock. So for Jeff, forced to 1 here, that's his goal. For Kerry, I have to get 2 points. If Kerry doesn't get 2 points this end, he's going to have to find a way to steal probably to win this game.
Is this a scenario where Burtnyk maybe gets a little more aggressive now?
Yeah,
you get off your game plan just a little bit because it dictates that you need to.
I think Kerry knows how tough it is to steal on a top team on ice like this, and so yeah, he's gonna force the issue a little bit more to get 2 here than he might otherwise, and it's really going to be again about positioning of rocks by the front end. Steve Gould putting his rock in the top of the 4-foot. They're going to do it again and try and make Kerry have to come to the middle, put his rocks together, and hopefully get a double at some point. So critical here for Steve Gould to put rocks in good spots.
Gould second.
No room right now. We got a lot of room.
And as John mentioned, he sat top 4-foot with his first.
The mistake that Steve doesn't want to make here is throwing a long guard, which he hasn't done, or creating a real big pocket. So it's a pretty good start by Steve Gould again. And I think you'll see Kerry his options here to throw a guard.
Steve Gould at 88% at one point.
Yeah, both leads have played real well in this game, as you expect them to do. And Kerry could ignore these rocks and throw up a second corner or go around the corner, but Steve's put him in a pretty good spot, and he's going to have to deal with them. So Kerry's going to ask Garth to just bump these around and start moving these things to the back of behind the T line and create a wall, something that he might be able to freeze to later in the end. This is all about setting up things now.
Last of 2 for Garth Smith.
And Garth just wanting to curl, move these 2 rocks around, bump them around, and nice shot. Now one of those rocks is behind the T line and becomes a bit of an advantage for Kerry.
Just straight peel, Rob.
We're going to peel the guard here with Fowler's first. At least that's what Stoughton's asked his second to do.
Yeah, Jeff knows that with the way Kevin and Rob can throw big weight, that without guards in play, Kerry's going to have to generate 2 points by putting rocks together. And no mistake. And so for Kerry, he can continue to throw corners, but at some point he's going to have to come in and come into that 4-foot area. And it's going to leave his rocks close together, and anything other than perfection is going to leave Jeff a double to get out of this end. And Kerry can't afford for more ends to go by without him scoring 2 points. You look at the scoreboard, and it's been a long time since Kerry has scored a big end. He's only scored 1 point since the second end, and Jeff's team can really play defense as well as anybody in the game. So Kerry throwing corners here, and he's just going to bide his time, and at some point he's going to have to come in, but he doesn't want to give Jeff too many early opportunities to run the double.
And Stoughton's going to peel that guard once again.
Yeah, Rob has really had a strong game.
And another successful peel for Rob Fowler.
So for Kerry, he's going to throw another guard. At some point, he can't keep guarding because Jeff is lying 2 in the 4-foot, and at some point, if he waits too long, number one, he has to get rid of 2 rocks, so it might take more than 1 shot. But at some point, Jeff is going to stop peeling these guards too, and he's going to force the action and throw a guard or come in again, and then all of a sudden, you know, Kerry's going to have to worry about scoring, never mind scoring 2.
So Richard Deneau has to put another guard up top. And he will.
Good shot by Richie.
And now Jeff Stoughton will ask for the 3rd straight peel.
Richard Deneau's had a good game too. He's been a victim of just missing by an inch here or there and a couple shots, and that have made things a little bit tough for the back end. But some of them haven't been his fault. Some of them have been some sweeping calls, and they just seem to have struggled a little bit with his path.
And Kevin Park peels with his first stone.
So you see Kerry now, no more corners.
Trouble is, if he comes there, but you can't be up here. It's got to be back here and then or here. Okay.
So what was Kerry talking about there?
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how at some point he's going to, without those corner guards, and because Steve's rocks were in good spots, it's forced the play into the middle, and it means that to generate 2 points, at some point Kerry's rocks are going to have to be close together, and he's just worried about where do I put this rock that isn't going to leave Jeff and Kevin Park a double opportunity. Because as soon as Kevin Park makes a double or Jeff Stoughton makes a double, there's no more chance for 2 here. There's no guards, there's nowhere to hide. And then at worst case scenario for Jeff Stoughton is he moves to the 9th end with a 2-point lead, and that's a game that he expects to be tied up coming home with the hammer. So they have to be really, really careful here and not leave a double.
Starting to swing toward the center line, and going to get it by that guard while they wreck a little bit up front on that first stone by Don Walchuk. And now it looks like there's a double there for Kevin Park.
Up in, Jeff.
Quarter's pretty good.
Okay.
And it's a fairly thin double, but it's a double that he could probably play very aggressively.
Oh, intern.
Because there isn't a hole. He shouldn't be able to go straight through that. Even if he got a little bit wide and missed the high one, he would clip out the back one. So he can take a good run at this. But this is, this is an opportunity. These are the kind of shots that when you get these opportunities, you have to take full advantage of them. If he hits it too thick and rolls across the top of the other one, you're only going to get so many chances at the double as well.
Kevin Park's first, looking for the double. 1-2, just like that. Nice shot. And he'll hold the shooter, and Stoughton will lay 3.
And the importance of that was sticking that shooter. What a nice shot. Hit a 1/4 to 1/8 of this stone, and doesn't just make the double, but he saves his shooter. And what that means is that now Kerry's looking at 3 in the rings. The chances of blanking this end are very difficult. So Kerry could just start playing some freezes. He's going to play a hit and roll here, and maybe they can make a good hit and roll to a spot where it won't be easy for Jeff to hit and save more than one of his rocks and get the blank that way. But they need a good hit and roll here by Don Walchuk.
Walchuk's second. Hit and roll.
Trying to hit and roll all behind the other yellow one, and
didn't get it quite far enough. And I think they're looking to just try to pick out that red.
Yeah, they would like to stick around and roll in front of their own yellow one, or roll a little bit further and not allow Kerry a free run at making that hit and roll behind that rock in the top of the rings again. It is a bit of a guard, so that if they did make the hit and roll, they could generate a 2 that way. But Jeff, so Jeff wanting to roll away far enough that he doesn't create a pocket as well. So Jeff needing to be pretty precise.
First for Stoughton.
Yep.
Would like to leave all of his rocks around. Really trying to force now.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Roll it, Rob. Roll it, Rob.
That's a real good roll.
Yep. Gets the pick of the red to move it out and rolls over.
It's a good roll, but it does
leave a double.
Well, you see the pocket now. Jeff rolling. I think they thought this rock was going to roll a little bit further after it hit. I think they were expecting this to roll to the other side of the 8-foot, and it rolls to the other side of the 4-foot, and good shot. Jeff Stoughton does lie 3, but now an opportunity for Kerry. If Kerry can make a good freeze here, he can be shot rock, and Jeff won't be able to get rid of it.
Nice to freeze into half or 2/3.
So an opportunity here for Kerry with a good freeze. Might very well still have that shot for 2.
Just as fast as it's been.
So he's going to freeze to the one on the edge of the button. That's full 4-foot. Still trying to think of a way to get his 2 and tie this one up through 8. First for Burtnyk here in the 8th.
Could freeze to either one of these. He's electing to freeze to the one on the right-hand side of center from TV. Can't afford to move this at all. If he moves it even the slightest bit, Jeff should be able to get rid of it. Like that.
Yep.
So close, but just moved it 2 inches, and now a pretty routine peel for Jeff to force Kerry into a shot for 1. And
Burtnyk knew it too.
Yeah. Line was really good. It just bumps it 2 inches.
That's literally what you guys talk about in terms of the game of inches.
Yeah, and you see Kerry's reaction there, and he knows it, and you know that could be that is such a huge difference. And if it's welded in there, and Jeff has to make a good shot to try and make a force, Kerry might have a chance to get 2 there, and there's such a big difference being tied up playing 9 versus 1 down without. So that 2 inches means now that Kerry's probably going to have to find a way to steal this game.
Whoa. Yep. Gotta pick it. Gotta pick it. Pick it. Yep.
And pick is successful. Rolls the shooter out and will sit 2 around the button, 3 in total. And with Burtnyk's last rock, he's going to have to draw and take his 1.
Yeah, and you see the level of expectations with these guys, and a good shot by Jeff, and all he really wanted to do was get rid of that. But he also knows that if he could have ever moved his yellow one a little bit out there, just a little bit thicker, and move that yellow one off the back of the 4-foot, it's not as easy for Kerry. And you just see with Jeff going, you know, we had an opportunity to make it just a little bit tougher on Kerry. So these guys just never stop finding a way to be perfect, and it's hard to be perfect, but these guys do it better than most.
Final stone for Kerry Burtnyk, looking to take 1, facing 3, giving up the hammer through 8. And he'll sit right there on an edge of the button, take his 1, trail by 1 through 8, give up the hammer to Jeff Stoughton, going to 9. And Jeff Stoughton in control of this one, and as John Meade says, it will be a steal game. Larceny now for Burtnyk and his foursome to try to tie it or take the lead. You're watching the 2010 Safeway Championships on Shaw.
Right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Over 130 options to choose from, found exclusively at Safeway. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
Geldwen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Email direct. Safeway savings sent directly to you. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
Come on, Goldie, show me some hustle. I'm not laughing.
Season tickets, 9-game mini packs, and group packages now available. Call 982-BASE.
Now playing on Shaw Video On Demand.
I've been waiting for Henry my entire life. It's you. I wrote down every time that you came to visit me. You told me that you go back to the same places a lot.
Yeah, it's like gravity. Big events pull you in.
I was a big event.
Is it too weird?
No, I think it's kind of magical.
Geldwen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Welcome back to the 2010 Safeway Championships. There you see the score. 5-4 for Jeff Stoughton over Kerry Burtnyk. And this ninth end, as we move toward it, brought to you by Safeway. Ingredients for life. 2 ends to go and uphill for Kerry Burtnyk.
And uphill for a couple reasons. Number one, they no longer really control the outcome here, and they're going to have to find a way to steal it probably twice, unless they can find a way to steal 2 points. But they're going to have to. They are going to likely have to steal 2 points at some point in this game, and so they're going to work real hard for it in the ninth end. But they have to be a little bit careful. They can lose it in this end too by forcing that too hard, and they don't have to steal this end. It doesn't matter whether they steal in 9 or 10 or in 10 and 11. So they can pick their battles a little bit, but they are running out of time. And the other part about it is the Jeff Stoughton team has really turned it up since the second end. Their numbers are big, and they start with Steve and putting these rocks in the right spot, and then Rob Fowler making everything that he's looking at. So not only does Kerry have to fight what's going on with the scoreboard, he's fighting a team that's really firing on all those cylinders right now.
R. Smith threw up a guard, top of the house. And now Steve Gould will come around and back in behind, but might be a little heavy.
Yeah, Kerry's going to throw up a second guard here. For Steve, he just does not want to put a rock behind the button that actually becomes something that Kerry can work with. So that rock maybe 6 inches further than he would like.
Garth Smith's second stone here in the ninth.
Yeah, Kerry's going to throw up a second guard. The key here for Garth is lots of separation and directly in front of the other one, so that there aren't any easy doubles for Rob Fowler to clear out the front.
No, Richard. No.
This has to get right to the center line.
It's got a long way to go. And moving slowly, but now starting to move a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little deeper than they would have liked. If you move that rock 2 feet, 3 feet higher, there's no double at all, but it's pretty good. They're pretty much in front of each other. So good start by Garth, and now for Steve is if he can put this in the top of the 4-foot behind those guards, Kerry's going to have to move rocks around before he can get to that button and find a way to steal.
Can't really.
Gould second.
Lots of room in here, and
hanging out.
Yeah, they want this to curl right to center. Top of the 4-foot, control that scoring zone. And those are good shots by Steve.
Yep.
So Kerry's going to have to move those things around a little bit.
Wait. Just through.
And he'll ask Rich to know.
But Richard can see all of that rock, so if he can get to nose and move those things around a little bit, he probably thinks that Jeff's going to go up and peel off that top guard. Garth hasn't really left a double, so opportunities here for Kerry to create some offense.
Deneau to come in.
Whoa. Yep.
Real nice shot by Richard.
Yep.
Really nice shot.
Removes one. The other Stoughton stone just on the edge of the 4 foot to be shot stone right now.
Jeff pondering a little bit, recognizing that it's not a great setup for him right now, and if things just sort of go according to form, he's probably going to be looking at something buried in the top of the 4 foot.
So he'll peel the top guard here.
He will, but he doesn't want to make it worse. He doesn't need to force the issue. Jeff wants to make sure that whoever scores next, or whenever somebody scores next, it's him. And by opening things up, it'll make it more straightforward. And he does have the benefit of at least being shot rock right now.
Burtnyk second.
Yeah, after a real good one on his first one.
Don't clean if it's heavy.
Kerry Burtnyk saying don't clean if it's heavy.
Just not wanting to leave any doubles on the guards. Lots of separation.
Hard.
And he'll get over the hog line and right on the center line.
That rock
sit there.
Yeah, that rock just getting into that slide path, but that by this stage of the game has had a ton of traffic and can get a little bit soft and can get just a little bit slower than you might find out wider where the pebble is more fresh, and we see that over and over in arena ice towards the end of the game.
Rob Fowler has to peel again, and does.
At some point, Kerry will have to come in and make a move, either by playing a tap on his red one or drawing, or even hitting and rolling to the button off the one that is shot rock. So it's a real game of cat and mouse right now. He doesn't think that Jeff will make a move into the rings anytime soon, because that will really play to Kerry's advantage by leaving lots of guards. And
so Don Walchuk's first.
This is the kind of end I think that Kerry would certainly have wanted to see, with good guards, and
Unless you have to.
this rock getting to the middle of the sheet a little bit earlier, which means it's going to be having to go through that softer ice, and the sweeper's worried about it dying.
And Walchuk will throw up a guard, and it slides the other side of the center line. And
yeah, it just got a little tight, and it potentially would leave an opportunity for Kevin Park to even make a triple, but Jeff taking the more conservative approach here and just peeling it off. You could do some good things, but you could probably do some damage too, and jam rocks and leave them around and potentially add another red one into the ring. So Jeff being a little bit conservative here.
Well, with a 1-point lead in hammer, and I mean, you're getting down, you're in the 9th end, so why not?
And it gets back to Jeff's goal, is leave me something to score.
And a takeout by Park. 3 straight guards have been peeled by Stoughton.
Wouldn't be terrible to be half open this way. Back weight.
So Kerry's going to make a move now, and I think probably worried that if he waits too long, Jeff might make that move first. The problem that he's going to leave here is if Don makes his shot perfect, Kevin's going to run up and he's going to run that red one back, and there is going to be an opportunity most likely for Kevin to get rid of everything. So that's where you've got to really, when is the right time to go?
Trying to remove the yellow and slide back in.
Wants to hang around.
And does.
And it's a real nice shot by Don, but there is an out here for Kevin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. I think we can get rid of it, eh? Sure. Thanks, buddy.
I didn't think I hit it. We're awful close to getting the third one.
I think Jeff was talking with Garth Smith, the lead from Burtnyk's rink, about some debris being on the ice, and
I like that.
Garth said, do you mind if I remove it? And Jeff said no.
Yeah. All right. Get the top two, we'll be awful close to the triple. I mean, I make this double, he just puts one back in there. Right?
2/3.
2/3?
3/4. It's close.
Okay. All right.
So there was two opportunities. Jeff wanted to play the one in the rings because he could make a double and open things up a little bit and limit the damage. But there is this triple here for Kevin, and it's really about making the top two go away. If he makes that double, he probably makes the triple. But the problem is if he ever doesn't make this,
really hard,
then he's really left a tough situation.
Up weight, 1, 2, and he'll make the double.
And that's the situation that Jeff was talking about. It's a nice shot. He makes the double, gets rid of the top two, but hit it more on the nose side. You see it coming in here, and he hits this rock right on the nose, makes that double, and he would have loved to make it across the top the other way because the effect, and you can't see it there, but the guard has remained. So that rock on the back of the button is guarded by Kevin Park, and so a bit of a risk reward. Made a nice shot, but it's what he's left, and he's left a pretty good opportunity for Kerry Burtnyk. Kerry Burtnyk will try and get a second one in here. So
middle eight's good too, though.
This will be the first of Skip Stone's here in the 9th. And as John said, Burtnyk trying to put a second into the rings. Put a little pressure on Jeff Stoughton. The idea again for Burtnyk is to try to steal here.
Placement of this is important. He doesn't want to put it in a spot that makes a run back double pretty natural for Jeff because it's a very tight yellow guard. Jeff throws those so well, you know he's going to be close. And so in addition to getting buried, also wants to get it, leave some separation between the two stones so that the run back double is a little bit harder.
Easy, easy. Whoa, whoa. Stay with it. Whoa, whoa. Wait.
Coming in here and get it buried and have some separation.
Well, they're going to get on it and just get it full 8, not quite to the 4-foot.
Pretty much like that.
But behind cover.
Yeah. But again, this an opportunity for Jeff to
not even. Just a little bit.
Right here?
Yeah.
If he can hit it a little high, he should be able to get rid of the two reds in the rings and roll his shooter away. And absolutely has to make some contact here, though.
So looking to run back his own into the two reds that sit in the 4-foot and 8-foot. But they're lined up pretty well, John. If you hit it right, they should all go.
They should, but this is not routine. They make it look routine sometimes, but it's far from routine. Don't have to miss it by much to miss everything. Has to hit it on the high side. Can't afford to overcurl.
1, 2. Holds the shooter. The red gets to the back of the 12, and Stoughton lies 2.
It's a terrific shot by Jeff, and he does lie 2. And the big thing is he gets that one off the back of the button. And by lying 2, now you see this come in. He was trying to hit it a little bit more on the high side, but great sweeping. Just a little tight out of his hand. Hits it dead on the nose, clips the back one as it goes by, and maintains his shooter, Rob Fowler, on it. Makes sure that red rock rolls as far as it can, and a great shot. And now Jeff, now he's forcing Kerry to really play with the game here. Kerry's got to try and draw, and probably he's got a couple options. He could freeze right down and force Jeff to get one, where he can try and put it in the 4-foot and hope that Jeff doesn't make that run back again and steal that way. So Kerry playing with the game now because of that run back that Jeff just made. And
final stone for Kerry Burtnyk.
This rock needing curl quite a bit. It's quite a bit wider than his one last time.
Well, we've seen once it gets past that hog line, it really starts to move and dig in, and there she goes. Pretty good shot.
Yeah, it's pretty buried.
That.
Heavy sigh from Jeff Stoughton.
Well, he knows it.
Pick, wow.
That's good.
Well, yeah, it's pretty well what we can see is good.
Just deciding what weight do I want to play to push this through that hole and score more than 1 point here. And Jeff knows.
He's gotten the hack here. Third, eh? Okay, bumper weight, guys.
He feels that he can see enough of this with bumper weight to push that rock through the rings and get 2, and knows the importance of scoring here, though. It's so important to even just to make sure that 1 point, he could just fall down, but Jeff feels that he's got enough of this rock that he can play bumper weight, and 2 points is really, they control the outcome.
Final stone here in the 9th. Stoughton leading and looking for more. And did he get enough? Well, he got enough for 1. He's not holding the shooter. Picks Burtnyk's out. And it will be Stoughton scoring 1 and taking a 2-point lead going to the 10th, but giving up the all-important hammer. Stoughton leading 6-4 at the end of 9. The 10th is next. And Kerry Burtnyk looking to get 2 with the hammer, or 3. To either win it or send it to an extra end. You're watching the 2010 Safeway Championships on Shaw.
Email direct. Safeway savings sent directly to you. Visit safewaychampionship.ca for more information.
Geldwen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Eating right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Over 130 options to choose from, found exclusively at Safeway. Visit safewaychampionship.ca for more information.
Do you know that your dentist sees more than just your teeth?
In fact, dentists are the only oral health care professionals uniquely qualified to examine, diagnose, and treat the tongue, teeth, gums, mouth, and jaw.
Only your dentist has the education and expertise to diagnose and treat all of your oral health needs.
To find out more, visit manitobadentist.ca regularly.
Trust your dentist. Good for you. Good for life.
Shaw TV. On your rinks, in your schools, at your events, and on your streets. We're there to bring it home.
Meals on Wheels has been delivering meals for over 40 years in the community now. When a Shaw TV story airs, we find that we get calls right away. There is an impact, and without Shaw Cable doing stories for us, we wouldn't have the volunteers, we wouldn't be able to get the word out, and we wouldn't be able to continue our service, which is crucial to people in the community.
We're there to bring it home. Shaw TV, your local voice.
Well, that looks a lot easier than actually sliding on the ice.
Warmer.
A little warmer. Paul Edmonds, John Meade, Jim Toth with you, the rest of the production crew from Shaw. Back here in Steinbach, we go to the 10th end. Jeff Stoughton leading by 2. Don't forget, stick around for the post-game show. And John Meade will select a game breaker on what really tilted this game in either team's favor. Still 1 end to go. 6-4 Stoughton in front. And Kerry Burtnyk with the hammer.
Yeah, and what's really tilted this game so far is after a shaky start is Team Stoughton has really shot the lights out. They overall curling at 93%, and when your lowest man is 88, 86%, that's a pretty good performance. But a small door opened in this end. Kerry Burtnyk making a pretty nice draw, but leaving Jeff a tap for 2 and to go up 3 points coming home, and Jeff just hitting it a little bit too thin, jamming it and only getting a single point. The difference between being up 2 coming home and being up 3 coming home is if you're up 3 coming home and you make your peels, you win. And in this circumstance, it's just not that easy. Kerry's going to throw corners, and Jeff can't be so caught up in trying to avoid giving up 2 that he ends up giving up 3. So, you know, it's not that difficult to score 2 points with the 3 rock rule, and if they put guards in the right spot. So for Jeff, good shot to open the end by Steve. He's put it in a good spot. He doesn't want to put a second one in there that Kerry can root. Yeah, so they'll throw it through, and Kerry, now you're just going to see him probably throw up second guards and decide when is he going to go around that corner guard.
16 adjustment.
Key here for Garth and Richard in throwing their corners is to not leave doubles, not let one slip deep so that Rob can take a run at the double, which we saw last night in that game with Mike McEwen and Jeff Stoughton. And tough to generate 2 points when the only rock is one in the 4 foot of Jeff Stoughton. So guard placement here has to be precise.
No.
Garth Smith second. Waiting for it to curl a little bit further over.
Good rock.
But not a bad spot.
No,
it's
not. It is a little bit deeper, and there are guys out there that can throw it hard enough that they'll take a run at this, but that one's pretty flat. That double's pretty flat, so Jeff is probably just going to make sure of the peel here.
Rob Fowler's first. He's had a terrific morning.
Yeah, he really has, and the 100% has created a bit of a gap between him and Richard, who's also had a pretty strong game. Doesn't want to make a mistake now by missing this peel.
And how about that? Gets the double.
And it's a good shot. He does leave a corner in, but now it's his guard. It's tighter the rings. So
8-9's good.
So Kerry's going to come in now. Good shot by Rob Fowler, and it's just that separation at the second position. Again, Richard's had a 86% game, and the misses have been few and very, very minor, but anytime you get out curled at a position, it makes it tough on the guys behind you, and
no, don't clean.
It's in no way a shot against Richard. It's just Rob Fowler's had a brilliant game.
This one's starting to move. They're going to try to get it by the guard, and do.
And it's a real nice shot, and it keeps the 2 alive.
Several picks on that one.
Kerry Burtnyk saying several picks on that one.
Yeah, and that's just, I think, as much as anything, the slide path getting a little soft.
Want to go here? You like straight back?
It's dangerous.
I like that.
Yeah. The problem with the run back is it's not that hard to miss everything and leave a guard, and Jeff can't do that. So Rob has an opportunity to get rid of everything here. If he can run this into the side of his yellow.
Trying to run it back. Off his, into the red. And how about that?
And that's just a fantastic shot.
Shot of the game so far.
And he has just been fantastic. And with that in effect triple, he runs this in, and that's why they played it this way, is they can get rid of the guard as well, and he throws it well, hits it into a corner of his, runs out the red, and there's only one lonely yellow one off to the side there, and real tough to generate 2 points now for Kerry Burtnyk, and that's a game shot.
Maybe worthy of John Mead's game breaker in the post game.
I like to keep those things close to my vest.
I'm not trying to influence you, either way. I'm just making suggestions. I mean, you never buckled to peer pressure in school, so why would you now?
Really? Well, that's because nobody ever out there really considered me a peer. They just ignored me, and you bring back all those bad memories of high school now.
Peel on that front guard.
Yeah, Kevin Park, probably the most nervous person in the building after watching Rob clean up like that. And the last thing you want to do is screw up an open peel after the guy in front of you makes a triple. But Kevin Park, no mistake. And Kerry Burtnyk going to try and go around this rock in the top of the 4 foot and hope that Kevin or Jeff miss a pretty short run back. And you keep grinding. You never know. Nothing is automatic out here. And if they can put this in the back 12 foot behind that rock, it's a 6-foot run back.
Don Walchuk's first. Here in the 10th, Stoughton leading 6-4 over Burtnyk, and Burtnyk holding the hammer.
That rock a little light and grabbing a little bit as well. But at least no double there. The big mistake there would have been to end up on half of a rock and let Jeff get rid of everything. So they're still going to have another chance. They just need to get that one rock in the back of the 12-foot buried at some point and hope that either Jeff or Kevin miss that run back. So no damage there.
Yes.
Kevin Park's second, and they're on it immediately, looking for the peel.
Just a straight peel. Yeah, Jeff Stoughton's team really played well and great numbers, and it's because they've, not the least of which, have played the more aggressive shots. They've had the better looking shots to throw at, and Kerry's team has really had to chase from the fourth end on, and you know, I know that Kerry would love to have that one tap back for 2 where he rolled out in the 5th end, and that's changed the way the second half has unfolded, because Jeff started the 6th end with a tie game on last rock, and
great line.
They've really maintained control after struggling a little bit early. But again, Don Walchuk making this nice draw here, and you hear Kerry, great shot. You know, now Jeff's going to have to make a run back that he expects to be close on, but again, it's not a guarantee, and Jeff doesn't have to miss this by much, and then Kerry Burtnyk has his chance for 2. And even if he makes it, if he were to make the run back and stick it and leave that yellow one in the back, it could very well give something for Kerry to freeze to. So you just keep plugging away. So a big shot here for Jeff.
His first of 2. Still prefers that corn broom, not for sweeping, but during his slide, which is a newer one that he's had. So there wasn't much corn left on the one that he was using for the last several years.
No, that is a new one that he's grabbed this year.
Yes.
Needs to hit this a little high. And makes no mistake. But he's probably going to have to do it again.
Yep.
Kerry's going to go right back there. He'll see this. Great sweeping here, Paul. A little tight early and hits it on a half of the back one, gets rid of it and stays there. If he hits it a little bit more on the other side, it rolls away and makes this shot much tougher. But the main goal is just making red ones go away there, so great shot.
So Burtnyk will try to duplicate what Walchuk did with his last shot, and that's come around and try to sit toward the back.
Absolutely. It'll leave Jeff the same shot, but it's now a rock higher, so it's another foot farther away. And again, all you can do is make guys make hard shots over and over and over again. And if they just continue to make them, you just tip your hat and say nice job and good luck in the next one. But for Kerry and these guys, if they can put it back there in the back of the 12, you never know. Jeff misses it by, if Jeff plays the run back again, which is also no guarantee, he could end up freezing or splitting the rings. But he doesn't have to miss by much to give an opportunity for 2 points for Kerry, and they're into an extra end.
Gets it around and will sit. Full 12.
It's a real nice shot by Kerry again. It may have actually curled enough that Jeff can just pick it out. It kind of lost its turn and plowed in at the end.
You know, a lot of discussions as to whether this might be it for Kerry Burtnyk, and retirement looming if they don't win at 51 years old. It's been a great career to date. Some would like to see Kerry continue, and only Kerry knows whether he will or not. Five provincial titles, a world title.
Yeah, and a Hall of Famer. You know, probably the only people who don't want to see Kerry continue to play are the people who have to beat him every year. And, you know, he still plays so well.
Well, he was in the final last year, semifinal this year.
Yeah, and you know, it's not over yet, but Jeff does have an opportunity to pick this rock out. Kerry's did really warp sideways at the end on that soft middle ice, and so if you know, if Jeff does get rid of the stone, it is game, and you know, he's just continued to play at such a high level and treat us all to such great curling.
Run back for the win.
Actually, he's just picking this one out of this. It did curl far enough. He's got to get by his on the top of the 8-foot. And he's done that, and
there
Jeff Stoughton off to another final.
Jeff Stoughton with a pick will go on to win this one and move on to the final at 2 o'clock this afternoon Central against Mike McEwen. So McEwen, the first time to the final. Jeff Stoughton will get there again to defend his championship from last year. Kerry Burtnyk's season is over, and we'll have what a lot of expected to be the final. The 1-2 seeds going in to this Safeway Championship will play for the final, and what folks thought would be the final when it all started on Wednesday morning. Jeff Stoughton on to another final, defeats Kerry Burtnyk 6-4. Back with more after these on Shaw.
Right, uniting flavor and nutrition. Over 130 options to choose from, found exclusively at Safeway. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
Jeld-Wen Windows and Doors. Reliability for real life.
Do you know that your dentist sees more than just your teeth?
In fact, dentists are the only oral health care professionals uniquely qualified to examine, diagnose, and treat the tongue, teeth, gums, mouth, and jaw.
Only your dentist has the education and expertise to diagnose and treat all of your oral health needs.
To find out more, visit manitobadentist.ca regularly.
Trust your dentist. Good for you. Good for life.
Coming soon to Shaw Video On Demand.
What is he doing? I told him the camera was in the lamp. No. No.
How about this guy, Whitaker? The guy's making $350 grand a year, and he turns informer. When does that happen?
Mark Whitaker, secret agent 0014.
Why 0014?
Because I'm twice as smart as 007.
Email direct. Safeway savings sent directly to you. Visit SafewayChampionship.ca for more information.
And welcome back to Steinbach. Kerry Burtnyk joins me now. Tough loss, obviously, in this qualifier for the final. Just your thoughts overall on how you curled.
Well, I was proud of my guys today. We put up a good fight. You know, I really think as we spoke in the fifth end break, the key turning point was probably when I didn't make my shot for 2 and 5, that hack weight shot, and you know, it ultimately cost us. But we forced Jeff to make a number of good shots, but he, to his credit, he made them all. So, you know, I think they deserved it. Having said that,
I have a prediction for this final. I mean, you three teams have been so close this whole year.
Yeah, that's right. No, I guess my prediction would be I think it's going to be a really good game, and I think the fans will be treated to a lot of excitement.
What's the future hold for you?
Right now, I think the future holds a little drive back to the city and maybe some supper with the family tonight.
No immediate plans, then? Everybody's wondering if you're going to continue competitively?
Oh, I haven't given that a second thought. I was just focused on trying to win today, and that's all.
Kerry, thanks for this. Congratulations on a great year, and enjoy the dinner tonight.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Kerry Burtnyk, losing skip today here in the qualifier to Jeff Stoughton 6-4, and we bring in Jeff Stoughton right now, who has a rematch on land with Mike McEwen from last night. We'll start with this one, though. Obviously, that fifth end when Kerry was just saying when he missed that double was one of the main differences. Yeah, I mean, he had a chance to get 2 there, and that was a big turning point for us to take control of the game. So, you know, and after that, we made some great shots in the last 5, so pretty good.
You guys played really good in the last 5, and especially Robbie Fowler, 100%, a triple in that 10th end. How much does he mean to you, especially in this game?
Well, if we can get him hitting like that, that would be great, because that means we're winning. So I'd love to see it again, but you know, we know we're gonna have to make a lot of tough shots and touch shots. It should be good.
We're going to talk to you again at 2 o'clock, but a quick thought on the rematch here with McEwen?
Oh, it should be good. I mean, you know we have to play better than we did last night, or we're not going to win that game. So, you know, hopefully we can pull it all together and play really well too.
I guess we'll see you in just over an hour. Thanks for this.
Thank you.
Jeff Stoughton, who will face Mike McEwen in today's final for the 2010 Safeway Championship. And now for the game breaker, we go back to Paul Edmonds and John Meade.
All right, John Meade, I was, you know, trying to influence you on the game breaker, which is brought to you by Manitoba Pork. But you had yours selected a long time ago, and both skips talked about it. So
yeah, and they talked about Kerry missing his shot for 2 and 5, and what was followed up in the 6th end was a great double and maintained his shooter by Jeff to get 2 points. And after that, they had a 2-point lead after 6 ends, and they never relinquished it. They made everything. So this really nice double, just pushing the red one far enough to get his 2nd point, really changed the game, gave them control. They never gave it up, and it's a trip off to the finals as a result.
And they'll play Mike McEwen at 2 o'clock. We'll have that broadcast for you here, starting at 2. And we'll get viewer response, and you can do that, as you see on the screen, either via phone or email Shaw TV Winnipeg at shaw.ca, or the phone number at 204-480-3500. And back downstairs to Jim Toth.
Well, thanks very much, guys. And this does set up our 2010 Safeway Championship final in just over an hour and a half, or just under, I should say, an hour and a half. 2 p.m. is when Mike McEwen and Jeff Stoughton will go back at it for the 2010 Safeway Championship. And we'll have it for you live right here on Shaw and across our Shaw network. On behalf of Paul Edmonds, John Meade, myself, Jim Toth, and our entire Shaw TV broadcast crew, go grab a snack and come right back to Steinbach. We'll see you at 2 p.m.